with Chip Walters on the call. Go Blue Raiders!
Yo, check this out.
Ah, Pourvu. Imagine a wonderland, vast as the eye can see. We're talking a whopping 10,000 square feet, stocked with wine, spirits, and over 1,500 beers from around the globe. And if that's not enough, they've got you covered with a massive horde of ready-to-guzzle cocktails like High Noon.
Well, saddle up, partner. It's Pourvu, the adult equivalent of a candy store. Open from 9 to 9 Monday through Saturday and from 10 to 6 on Sundays, too. Not leaving your sofa during the next big game? No worries, my jersey-wearing couch potato. You can place your orders at Pourvu.us or download their super snazzy app.
Just picture hockey night. He shoots, he scores, we toast.
We're talking about a good old round of tequila shots, of course.
Tequila!
Pourvu has it all. Tequila is always a big hit, just like Uncle Frank at the family parties.
Wine, spirits, beers, mixers, barware, gifts, party supplies, and more.
Curbside pickup at absolutely zero charge, mind you, and home delivery.
Indian Lake Boulevard in Hendersonville, just off Vietnam Vets, exit 7.
Pourvu. It's all Frenchy and fancy, meaning for you.
Score!
Now, your Game Center update.
This Game Center update is brought to you by Gary Force Acura, proud sponsor of your Nashville Predators. This is Nick Frazier. The Nashville Predators return home from their long western road trip as they lost last night to the Winnipeg Jets 6-3. Philip Tomasino got on the score sheet last night for the first time this season. The Preds play at Bridgestone Arena tomorrow night against the Arizona Coyotes. Our pregame coverage starts at 6 with puck drop to follow at 7. Other news around the NHL, after letting in 20 goals in their first 2 games of the season, the San Jose Sharks have turned the ship around and have won their second straight game last night against Connor McDavid and the Edmonton Oilers. The Oilers have now lost 4 straight games. This is the worst start to an Oilers season in franchise history. As for other Oilers on the football field, the Titans look to get their first road win of the season against the Tampa Bay Bucks this Sunday. And in college football, the MTSU Blue Raiders take on the FIU Panthers tomorrow at home. Coverage starts at 1:30 with kickoff to follow at 2:30 on 93.3 Classic Hits. I'm Nick Frazier, and you're listening to 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
For more, follow us on Twitter at 1025 The Game or visit thegamenashville.com. Live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. WPRT FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne. Nashville's exclusive home for the Nashville Predators. 102.5 and 106.3.
79-52 Vanderbilt.
And I think he's going to coach
Shot by Cheryl.
You're going to see more moves.
The Game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Where you have a voice.
He had a competent coaching staff. You just play terrible and you keep playing.
And we have strong opinions.
What a whiny freaking crybaby response.
This is Stillman and Company with Jared Stillman on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game, streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios on a Fireball Hot Take Friday. Tomorrow is Veterans Day, and I want to start right off the top with thanking our veterans for everything that they have sacrificed in their lives for this country, and of course, thinking about all of the families of the veterans who sacrificed their lives for this country. As much as we may disagree on all kinds of things, which we do, as much as we may have our own issues in our own country and abroad, which we do, we are very lucky to live in the United States of America and have the freedoms with which we have, and we would not have those without our armed men and women who, again, are willing to give the ultimate sacrifice for their belief in their country. So we want to thank you, we want to honor you this weekend, and we hope that you all have a great, great Veterans Day and Veterans Day weekend. Ian is here today. Hello, Ian.
Well said. What up, what up?
Okay. Do you remember Miss Cleo?
Yes, the late night Miss Cleo, the psychic.
Yes. Call me now.
Yes, I do remember her. She was a fraudster, though.
Oh, total fraudster. So if you are over the age of 25, if you're under the age of 25, you have no idea what I'm talking about. If you're over the age of 25, you remember the infomercial. Call right now for Miss Cleo, and she will tell you the future. Call me now. I don't know what it cost in order to do that. It must have been something like $4.99 a minute or something crazy like that. Well, you can go ahead and call me Mr. Cleo today, because I'm going to tell you exactly what's going to happen on Sunday in the Titans game versus the Buccaneers. By the way, for everybody this week who has said, oh, talk about the Bucs game, well, you're going to get your wish here. because I'm going to tell you everything that's going to happen. The Titans are going to lose on Sunday to Tampa Bay. And I'm going to tell you why. First, they're going to be terrible on the offensive line. And Daniel Brunskill is officially out, as is Nicholas Petit-Frere, a.k.a.
PT.
Which means that the Titans are going to have more Andre Dillard at left tackle, and Radens will be in there at right guard, although Radens might be the second best offensive lineman on this team right now, which is another indictment. The line's going to be terrible. The quarterback's going to get hit like crazy. The Titans are going to move the ball effectively at times. Then they'll get into the red zone. They won't be able to score. They'll have to settle for field goals. Derrick Henry's going to carry the ball about 16 times, probably gain somewhere around 63, 71 yards, somewhere in there. Tampa, meanwhile, is going to run the football with Rachaad White and Keyshawn Vaughn, the old Vandy running back, like it's the old days of Michael Pittman and Mike Allstott. Again, if you're under the age of 25, you may not know what I'm talking about. If you're older than 25, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's going to be the old days of Tampa Bay Buccaneer football. That's what this is going. They're going to run the ball like crazy. Baker Mayfield's going to have the ball in the fourth quarter with about 6 minutes to go, and they'll score a touchdown to take the lead. And then Levis will get one last shot at it, and they'll probably run some bad play call, or they'll get stuffed, or he'll get sacked, or he'll throw an interception because he's got to put the ball in the air. And the Titans are going to lose something like 17-13. And you're wondering, how do you know all of these things? How do you know that this Tampa Bay rushing attack with Rachaad White and Keyshawn Vaughn is going to run all over the Titans like there's no tomorrow? How do you know that the Titans are going to move the ball effectively and get shut down in the red zone? How do you know that Baker Mayfield is going to lead a game-winning drive in the fourth quarter? And the answer is because every road game the Titans have played this season outside of Cleveland, which might have been the single worst game plan I have ever seen Mike Vrabel walk into a football game with, has been the exact same. Saints game was the exact same. Ravens game, Colts game, Steelers game. Every road game has been the exact same. So why would this be any different? It doesn't matter who the quarterback is. Tannehill's the quarterback against the Chargers, 27 points. Tannehill's the quarterback against the Bengals, 27 points. Levis is the quarterback against the Falcons, 28 points. At home, they hit the deep ball. At home, they bow up on defense when it's time to. But on the road, it doesn't matter if they're playing the Kansas City Chiefs or if they're playing the Pittsburgh Steelers, or if they're playing the Vanderbilt Commodores. The best team in the NFL right now might be the Baltimore Ravens. And how did you lose the game against the Ravens? Well, you got your quarterback hit a bunch, and then you were trying to drive late in the game, trying to score, but you couldn't score, so you had to settle for all these field goals in the red zone, and you had a shot at the end of the game, but you just couldn't get it done. These games are all the same. So why would the Buccaneers game be any different? And so the only way that I'm wrong about this, and Mr. Cleo doesn't charge $4.99 a minute because he's wrong often. But the only way I'm wrong about this is if Will Levis has an it moment. You know what I'm talking about. The it moment C.J. Stroud had last week that Bryce Young didn't have last night. Now, it's not Bryce Young's fault. We'll get to Bryce Young because Bryce Young's team freaking stinks. But the only way you break the cycle of the same game being played over and over and over and over again is if somebody who has the ability to change the cycle is able to do it. I hate to say it, but right now, Titans defense, they don't have anybody on that side of the ball that can break the cycle. They don't have anybody, and this includes Simmons, they don't have anybody on that side of the ball that can put their hand up and say, okay, I'm tired of the way this has been going. I'm going to take over the game. They don't have that. When we talk about the Buccaneers, Warren Sapp back in the day used to have that ability. You don't have Warren Sapp. So, I mean, as soon as I think of defense, nobody there can do it. Henry, I think he's doing his best to try to take over some of these games, right? The Saints game, he had the big screen pass. The Ravens game, he had the big wildcat run. The last game, he had the 22-yard screen pass. Like, Henry's trying his best. But Derrick Henry on the road where you can't block because you don't get off the ball fast enough, he can't do it himself. You're not going to get the offensive line to make a spectacular, oh my God, could you believe that type of impact on the game. You don't have a receiver who's good enough to make a Justin Jefferson-like one-handed grab going back on 4th and 30 against the Buffalo Bills last year. You don't have that player. You don't have a tight end. The only way you break the cycle of playing the same old road game is if Will Levis does it. That's it. Now, I don't know if Will Levis is going to be able to do it or not, but that is the only way I can see that happening. Joe Burrow with the Bengals, his second year. That was a team that wasn't supposed to be very good. That was a team that had no offensive line. That was a team that had a bunch of guys who had been around for a while who had done nothing but losing. But I think we all know that Joe Burrow, when push comes to shove, Joe's got it. And so Joe can raise the Bengals above it. Patrick Mahomes, go back to the 2019 AFC Championship game. You throw a touchdown pass in the end zone to Dennis Kelly, you're up 17-7. Right then and there, if you're playing another quarterback in the NFL, if you're playing an average quarterback in the NFL, if you're playing the guy you're playing this week, Baker Mayfield, up 17-7 in the AFC Championship game, you win. But what happened in that AFC Championship game? Mahomes had the it moment. I'm not saying that Will Levis has to have it or else he's a bust. He'll never be the guy. He won't because he couldn't against Tampa in week 1. Because there's a lot of quarterbacks when the scale is on one end, Joe Burrow, and let's just use Bengal quarterbacks as an example. Joe Burrow is on one end of the spectrum. Akili Smith is on the other end of the spectrum. There's a lot of Carson Palmer and Boomer Esiason and guys in between. Jeff Blake. So I don't know where Levis is going to be. But I know that for this particular game, the only way that you win, because I don't trust the defense, I don't trust the offensive line, I don't trust the receivers, I don't trust the tight ends, I don't trust the coaching, in order to elevate what they've done on the road this season, the only way for that to happen is if Will Levis has the, screw it, I'm going to take over this ball game. And if he does that, then you may have something special. But I don't think he will. So I would hammer the Buccaneers at -1.5. Is that the latest line, Ian, 1.5?
Yeah, I think so. Or 1. Yeah,
hammer the Buccaneers at -1.5. And I don't even think much of the Buccaneers. And I don't even, I watched them, 2 of the last 3 weeks. But I've watched them all 3 of the last 3 weeks because they played on Thursday Night Football against the Bills. I don't even know that much about them. I mean, I think Baker's playing better than their record indicates. But outside of that, it's because this isn't about the Buccaneers. This is about the Titans. And this is about the fact that the Titans have played the same game at home and on the road the entire season, minus that horrendously game-planned Cleveland Browns game. So that's how we're starting. 615-737-1025 on a Fireball Hot Take Friday. Call me now at 615-737-1025 if you want to weigh in here on a Fireball Hot Take Friday. Now, there's one thing that you, as a Titan fan, need to promise that you will not get caught up in, which we'll get to coming up next, plus what one former NFL general manager says about the Titans. Now they've made the switch to Levis ahead of the Bucks game. We'll get to that. Stillman and Company on a Fireball Hot Take Friday. It's 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Vanderbilt Commodore fans, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game, along with 94.9 The Fan, is your new home for broadcast of games and the Commodore Hour on Monday evenings. Catch all the action for football, men's and women's basketball, and baseball all season long. Go Doors!
Go big or go home. Unless you're part of Smashville. Because here, going big means you are home. Big hits, big names, big history, big energy. Welcome to Smashville.
Preds fans, join us as we take on the Arizona Coyotes this Saturday, November 11th at Bridgestone Arena. Secure your tickets today at NashvillePredators.com.
Join former Tennessee Titans players Brad Hopkins, Neil O'Donnell, Dexter McCluster, and Al Smith on October 21st from 1 to 5 for the Kurdish Festival and Sports Tournament, hosted by the Salahuddin Center and NFL Alumni Tennessee. This event will be held at the Hivy Center, located at 3124 Old Franklin Road in Antioch. Activities include food, sports tournaments, a bouncy house, and updated COVID and flu vaccines available. Head to nflgearup.org/Tennessee for more information.
Need cash for the holidays or want to be credit card debt free for the new year? Call Loan Pronto today. Their Express Equity line of credit could get you $20, $50, $100,000 in as little as 5 days. Willie Donick here. Listen up. You've got a ton of equity in your home, and Loan Pronto can help turn that equity into cash to put it to use. You can access up to 95% of your home's value. Use the money to pay off all your credit cards or pay off personal loans. Start the home improvement project you've been looking for. You can get the money you need now and still keep your primary mortgage intact, so your 3% rate is protected. Call right now, 615-499-5780. Get the holiday cash you need or pay off all those credit cards. 615-499-5780 or go online at loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781, subject to lender approval.
Actor Portrayal, based on a real patient experience.
I'm Mike. I'm a husband, proud father of two, work my butt off 6 days a week, some nights too. When my family or my company needs me to make it happen, I make it happen. But a few months ago, I started having trouble making it happen, in the bedroom. I tried some pills online, but they didn't work. Honestly, I thought about throwing in the towel on my sex life, but I'm not that old. I still want to enjoy intimacy with my wife. Like that poet said, I don't want to just go gently into that good night. So I went to the Tennessee Men's Clinic in Franklin. Got some lab work done, was prescribed some meds, and wow, it made it happen. I can't say enough about them. Their providers took care of me, followed up, and made sure I had a treatment plan that actually works. It's awesome. If I were you, and you're like me, I'd give them a call today, 615-208-9090, or go to TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. If you're like most guys, they'll make it happen for you too.
Visit our website to learn more, including side effects, treatments extra. Results vary.
Make sure you subscribe to the Stillman & Company podcast so you never miss a show. We're on Apple, Spotify, and all other major podcast platforms.
This is Stillman & Company on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
I'm surprised this week they're a dog by a point to Tampa. Tampa's secondary doesn't look like they can cover anybody. When you watch the game against Houston where C.J. Stroud in the second half just torched them, you're sitting there saying, whatever happened to the Tampa defense? To me, Tennessee will, run the ball on Tampa because the misnomer is you can't run the ball on Tampa. That's not true anymore. And I think Levis will have a good day throwing. I'm surprised that line hasn't flipped a little bit. I know Tampa's playing at home, but Tampa's actually a better road team than they are a home team.
If you've never had a reading from a real psychic, try us right now for free. Call me now for your free reading.
There you go, Miss Cleo. So Mike Lombardi says, former NFL general manager, that's on VEASAN. Lombardi says, oh no, that Tampa defense is horrible. The Titans are going to run the ball with Henry. Levis is going to throw it. They're going to have a whoa. Let's calm down here for a second. Let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. I want everybody to promise right now that you will not look at how Levis plays on Sunday and say, well, he only threw for 227 and 1 touchdown and 1 interception, and C.J. Stroud threw for 500 yards and 5 touchdowns, because these situations are not at all applicable. I'm not going to tell you that I think Stroud sucks, because I don't think Stroud sucks. And Stroud has performed better than I thought he would. But the situations are totally different. First and foremost, Stroud has a much better football team around him. I saw yesterday on television, Scott Van Pelt, who might be the highest paid guy at ESPN, was talking to Herm Edwards after the Thursday night football game, and he was like, well, C.J. Stroud doesn't have a lot around him, Herm, and he's doing so well, and Bryce Young's doing... No. C.J. Stroud has a $30 million left tackle. He has a $20 million left guard. He has a $12 million right guard. And he's got a $4 million tackle that you, the Titans, weren't interested in signing because he cost too much money. He's got 4 receivers. Nico Collins, who's very underrated. They drafted Tank Dell. They signed Robert Woods. And they signed Noah Brown from the Cowboys. They signed Dalton Schultz, the tight end, also from the Cowboys. Like, they went out. They got the 5th highest payroll in the NFL. They went out and spent money to help their young quarterback out. Carolina, meanwhile, in order to get there, that we can get the pick, they traded Christian McCaffrey last year. So when it comes to just comparing these young quarterbacks, it's easy to say, well, they played Tampa this week and they played Tampa next week. So because they played Tampa and C.J. Stroud went crazy, that we should all expect Will Levis, if he's in the same ballpark as C.J. Stroud, that we should expect Will Levis to have the same kind of game. And I'm just here to tell you that's not how this NFL works. And the other part about it is this. Ian, what is it that we want from the other team that the Titans are about to play every time before they play them? What is it that we want that team to do on Sunday?
Fat and happy.
We want them to win so that they're fat and happy. The last thing that you want, if you're the Titans, before you play somebody, is for them to get freaking embarrassed. And that Tampa defense, which sucks, that Tampa defense got embarrassed on Sunday. Just like C.J. Stroud got embarrassed the week before against Bryce Young and the Panthers when they lost that game. And then he responds with a great game. You never want the team you're about to play to get embarrassed. So I know Tampa's defense is terrible. And I know that Jamel Dean might be out for Tampa Bay, even though we really don't even know much about Jamel Dean. But let's not think, oh, well, C.J. Stroud did this to them, and 1 week later it's going to be the same way. Because I guarantee you, if they played the Texans again, if they were a divisional opponent with the Texans, and we've seen this with the Titans the last couple of years, where the Titans will play a game against Indianapolis, then they'll play another game, and then they'll play Indy again. If this were a situation where Houston was playing Tampa in 2 weeks, Tampa would not give up 500 yards in the air. They're embarrassed. And every time Stephen A. Smith is on television and they're debating on First Take, is C.J. Stroud worth the league MVP? They take that personally. So I want Levis to play smart. And I want Levis, and I know this sounds like a cliche, I want Will Levis to just worry about being the best Will Levis he can be on Sunday. Will Levis does not have the offensive line that C.J. Stroud has. Will Levis does not have the receivers that C.J. Stroud has. Will Levis doesn't have a tight end. Your tight end room is Chig Okonkwo, an athletic tight end who can't catch, Josh Wiley, a tall tight end who can't stay healthy, and Trevon Wesco, who's basically a 6th offensive lineman. They have Dalton Schultz, who is a legitimate number 1 in the NFL starting tight end. There is a difference. Phone lines are driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com at 615-737-1025 if you want to weigh in. Texter into the text line says, Jared has been wrong all year when it comes to the Titans. I also agree, though, the offensive line is trouble. Let me say this. I picked the Steeler game, and I felt very confident about that. And I sat there on the pregame show before the Steeler game. And by the way, another texter says, you guaranteed that loss against the Falcons, so I'm glad you're making the prediction the Titans are going to lose. I sat there with Derek before the Steeler game. We were doing the pregame show last week. And I said to Derek, I said, I just don't want a repeat of the Colts game. And you guys remember the Colts game. Average quarterback. They didn't touch him. Running back, average, below average. Zach Moss is fine. And the Colts didn't have any impediment for moving the football when it really mattered. And the Steelers had the exact same game. I mean, every offensive statistic tells us how bad the Steelers are. And the Steelers did whatever they wanted to do against you. Steelers get the football to start the game, right down the field, walk a touchdown in from 10 yards. Game on the line in the fourth quarter, right down the field, get down in the red zone, score a touchdown. I mean, they could have had more if George Pickens could have just kept his foot in the end zone in bounds. So I got to tell you, I don't think it's complicated to look at the Titans. And we always talk about this in training camp, right? Well, is that good defense or is that bad offense? Well, when it comes to the Steelers, and it is the Pittsburgh Steelers, that offense out there, and it's them that is always getting what they want. When it's the Colts, with their backup running back running for 180 yards on you, it's not good offense. It's bad defense. I mean, if Zach Moss is Le'Veon Bell, like the Titan players were saying in the locker room after the game, what's that make Taylor Algier, and what's that make Jaylen Warren, and what's that make all these guys, right? Is it, he's Terrell Davis, and he's Emmitt Smith, and he's Jim Brown, and is that what we're doing here? Who's Rashad White going to be then? Who's he? Herschel Walker? What are we doing here? Texter says, I'd be much more excited about Levis as my quarterback than I would be with at least 10 other starting NFL quarterbacks. That's an interesting question. How many starting quarterbacks in the NFL are for sure better than Will Levis? Probably 15. I mean, I'd have to think in my head. I use a guy like Kirk Cousins, right? I don't know that for sure Kirk Cousins will be better than Will Levis, but I think Kirk Cousins is probably better than Will Levis now. I'm going to tell you this, and you guys are not going to agree with this, and I feel very confident that Vrabel's thinking the same way I do. Vrabel probably thinks, if Vrabel's house was on the line in this Tampa Bay game, if it was Mike, you lose everything if you lose this Sunday, Ryan Tannehill would be the quarterback of this team. I think Tannehill probably gives them the better chance to win this game. But we're going to see with Levis, if Levis is supposedly the dude, and then they're going to have to also work through his mistakes. They're going to get him the experience. I'm excited about Levis too. But with any of these rookie quarterbacks, the thing that's crazy is the way people jump up and down about these rookie quarterbacks after a couple of games, or they throw them under the bus after a couple of games. It's like dating. You can have a great fourth date. It doesn't mean you're going to get married. You don't know with these guys for 2-3 years sometimes. But I am excited about Levis too. 615-737-1025 is our phone number if you want to weigh in. 615-737-1025. And there's another thing about the Titans when it comes to how disappointing the predicament they are in is. They're 3-5. They're going on the road to a bad Tampa team that's also 3-5. They're underdogs. And look, the line stinks, but we kind of see that coming. The receivers have their moments. The tight ends, disappointing. But there's a really, really disheartening element to the Titans that I do want to touch on next, and then we're right back to your phones. 615-737-1025 if you want to weigh in on the program. Tune in to 94.9 The Fan tomorrow for Vandy football. The Commodores kick off at 11, so the pregame starts at 9:30 on the road at South Carolina. Coverage is also available on the 94.9 The Fan app and at 949thefan.com. And Vandy women's basketball will be on Sunday. The Commodores will be at home, and they'll take on Fairfield. Tip-off is at 1 o'clock, and the pregame starts at 10:30. And then tonight, we're off early as Vandy basketball will take on USC Upstate at Memorial Gym. Tip-off is at 6, which means pregame starts at 5:30. And again, coverage will be right here on 102.5 The Game, 102.5 The Game's app, and at thegamenashville.com.
All the big plays.
And we are done. Vandy 24-21.
All the big stories.
I'm sure Vandy will be a much better team if Clark Lee is the coach.
All in one place. We are Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3.
What a stop by UC Sarah.
Then he wouldn't didn't end up on my team.
Driving his way to victory lane.
I think that's the right strategy. The Game and the Game Nashville app.
SEC basketball lives right here in Nashville, and you don't want to miss out as the Vanderbilt Commodores tip off the season. With a variety of budget-friendly ticket options, you can be there for all of the Memorial magic. Led by SEC Coach of the Year Jerry Stackhouse, the men's team hosts home games against Tennessee, Kentucky, Alabama, and a whole lot more. And Coach Shea Ralph and the women's squad will take the court against the likes of LSU, Tennessee, and Ole Miss. For tickets or more information, go to VUCommodores.com or call 877-44-VANDY.
It's the Electronic Express Black Friday Savings Marathon. Every Sunday means hot new deals. Get the gifts you want and save up to 50% throughout the entire store. Get the Samsung 75-inch 4K TV, only $649, plus other hot deals. At Electronic Express, dream big, pay small with up to 36 months free financing on items like a Samsung French door refrigerator, only $13.99, or an Acer laptop, now only $199. Shop the Black Friday Savings Marathon at Electronic Express. We make it happen.
Teddy's Tavern, downtown's newest bar with an old Nashville feel, is conveniently located across the street from Bridgestone Arena and just blocks away from the pedestrian bridge. Get a taste of the new brunch menu to fuel your Titans Day pride on game day. Pre-game specials from 9 a.m. till kickoff when the Titans play at home include 2-for-1 draft beers, mimosas, and Bloody Marys. Teddy's Tavern is where you want to be before every Titans home game, so come downtown early and meet me at Teddy's.
Get in on the conversation at 615-737-1025. The game text line is driven by Wilson County Hyundai. Online at wilsoncountyhyundai.com.
Nashville's Best Deals is a great place to save cash fast. Get up to half off or more on dining and entertainment at thegamenashville.com/deals. Check back often for new featured deals and save money now at thegamenashville.com/deals.
What's for dinner? Burgers?
After last week, no thanks.
Avoiding foods due to fear of diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose, oily stools? It may not be just stomach issues. It could be EPI, or exocrine pancreatic insufficiency. EPI can cause uncomfortable symptoms because it's a condition where the pancreas doesn't release enough digestive enzymes to break down food. But EPI can be managed. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and talk to your doctor about your symptoms. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Every Wednesday at 8:30. Join Robbie and Rex Road for The Choice is Yours.
2 sports questions, 2 non-sports questions.
They'll answer a couple of questions about life and sports. The Choice is Yours is built by Jarrett Companies. You have a choice. So when you have a need for site and utility work, fire protection, concrete and asphalt services, the choice is simple. It's Jarrett Companies. For more, visit JarrettCompaniesInc.com. The Choice is Yours. Wednesdays at 8:30 on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
What's up, Nashville? This is Stephen A. Smith. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
I think if we need to find a way to win on the road, we've played a close game in New Orleans, had too many turnovers, didn't play or coach well enough in Cleveland, and we can go all the way down the road. I mean, it's been some good things and some productive plays that we've had. Again, it's just the consistency and the overall execution that you have to be able to win on the road in some of those situations.
Are we really going to play that game when it comes to why the Titans have lost all these games on the road? Let's take Cleveland out of there, which, again, was one of the worst coached games Mike Vrabel's ever had as a Titan. So take that one out. But the Saints, he's sitting there like, oh, well, we lost that game because we turned the football over, and then there was the game on the road against the Colts, and then there was the game against Stillman. These games are the same. You get down to the red zone, you can't score. You're trying everything to score once you get down there. 1 week, you've got Derrick Henry throwing a ball 1 inch too far to the back of the end zone for DeAndre Hopkins. Another week, you're trying to have DeAndre Hopkins throw Derrick Henry a pass for a touchdown when you get down around the red zone. I mean, you're trying everything in these road games. You got Derrick Henry in the Wildcat. For some reason in the road, you can't score in the red zone. For some reason on the road, you drop important passes. For some reason on the road, Chigakonkwo never shows up. For some reason on the road, Derrick Henry only gets 13 or 14 carries. For some reason on the road, your quarterback gets hit about 67 times. And it happens the same game. I don't understand. Again, how this is, oh, well, let's go by game by game. No, it's the same outside of Cleveland, which takes me to the real disappointment in all of this. The defense. Like, I know the Titan receivers aren't very good outside of DeAndre Hopkins. And I know Chigakonkwo's not a starting caliber tight end in the NFL. And I know the offensive line sucks. And I knew Tannehill wasn't Patrick Mahomes. And I'm not assuming that Will Levis is right now either. Like, I know all of these. I know Craig Aukerman's going to screw 3 things up a game. I already know that. I expect that. Why does the defense suck so bad? And I'm trying to look through this, and I'm like, okay, the Titans, they're ranked 17th in rushing per attempt. That's not bad, but why is it? And then all of a sudden it hit me. They never turn anybody over. That's the problem. If you're going to be good, right? Like, if you're going to be good, but your offense sucks, if that's going to be the case, and with your offensive line, there is no chance for your offense to be anything but below average. Like, that's the best you can hope for. You cannot line up and throw it 38 times a game. You know that, and so do I. So with your offensive line, you got to hope for a below average offense as opposed to a, good offense. You're not going to have the 13th best offense in the NFL with this offensive line, which means the defense has to be good. Why are the Steelers, why do they have a winning record? Because they turned the football over. Going into the game last week, they were 7th in the NFL in takeaways. You're 32nd. That's what it is. Defense is horrible. And it shouldn't be. They're paying guys too much money to be this bad. And then when I look at the game, nope. 3rd down and 6, they're going to spread them wide, and there's Jack Gibbons on a wide receiver. And that's why your defense is bad. It's truly unbelievable. Ian was talking during the break, and another texter into the text line says, I would not waste my paycheck on Baker Mayfield and the Buccaneers. The Titans are going to win by 10. And Ian was talking about, like, where do the Buccaneers rank in rushing offense? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Because you could go get the running back from Hillsborough High School and stick him back there. And I guess in this case, the Buccaneers may actually use the running back from Hillsborough High School. But you can get the running back from Hillsborough High School and stick him back there. And if the Titans are playing a road game, that guy's going to crack 7 yards every time he gets the ball. And I don't understand why this is that way. Like, Vrabel's a defensive coach. I don't understand why this is that way. They've paid their defensive line an exorbitant amount of money. They made the defensive line coach the head coach for a preseason game because they think he's good. Like, they let David Long walk so they could sign Azeez Al-Shaair. Like, I don't know why it's so bad, but it's bad. And I don't know exactly why it's so bad on the road, and it's not that bad at home, although the second half of the Falcons game is pretty bad. Once the Falcons took the bad quarterback out and put the not bad quarterback in. I'm not going to say good quarterback, but when they took the bad quarterback out and they put the not good quarterback in, the Falcons, I think, were on pace for like 500 total yards in that game. And then they played the Vikings, and that same offense lost to Josh Dobbs, who showed up on Tuesday. So, again, I understand why the receivers aren't very good. I understand why the offensive line has problems on the road. I do not understand why this defense is so bad. And nobody has a real good answer either. I keep asking. I asked Trevor, I asked Chris, I asked TD. Why is this defense so bad? And I don't know the answer to that. Texter in the text line says, Jared, I agree that 28-plus points is needed for the Titans to win games, and Levis must take charge to make that happen. In today's NFL, you must be able to pass to score and win. Playing good defense and running the ball alone, Jeff Fisher ball, and playing not to lose does not work anymore. Excuse me? Running the ball in defense doesn't work anymore? I'm sorry. How are the Baltimore Ravens good again? Like, is it because they signed Odell Beckham? I don't think Odell Beckham has 15 catches on the season. Running the ball in defense works. It's always worked. Running the ball and defense works. Now, does running the ball and defense work consistently against great quarterbacks in the playoffs? I don't think so. But running the ball and defense works. The problem is you can't play any defense. That's the problem. Texter sitting here saying, I agree that 28 points is needed, and Levis has to make the 28 points happen. Dude, if you're banking on Will Levis to get you the 28 points on Sunday on the road, it's not going to happen. You were never going to score 28 points on the road against the Steelers unless you got some help, unless you turned them over, unless you blocked a kick, unless you did all the things that you never do anymore. You were never going to score more than 28 points to beat the Steelers. Texter says, you always talk about how the other team is embarrassed and angry, and Tampa's angry after the C.J. Stroud performance. Says, why can't the Titans ever be pissed off and embarrassed? Well, that's what the Cincinnati game was. The Cincinnati game was we just got embarrassed 27-3 at Cleveland. We've had to stew on this all week. Everybody's talking about how we stink, and everybody's talking about whether or not the coach is to blame. And we've got Joe Burrow in Cincinnati, and they just won a game on Monday Night Football, and nobody thinks we can win. And then you go out there and you slug them. That is absolutely. The Titans are very much like everybody else in the league, where the Titans can reel off 3 in a row, and you finally start to feel good about them, and then they lose at home 2 years ago to the Houston Texans. But the Titans absolutely light it up and play embarrassed. I mean, this is, to me, I don't understand this idea of everybody thinking like, oh, yeah, somebody just texted about the Titans should score 31 points on Sunday. 31. I can't even remember the last time the Titans scored 30 in a game. And you people are talking about 31 points in the text line? What are we doing? 31 points? You guys are crazy. Texter says, Jared, it's all about hope. As a Titans fan, hope is all we have right now. Can I ask hope for what? Like, is it hope that Levis is going to be the next great quarterback? Because there should be some hope for that. Now, again, it's going to take time. It's not, you won't know next month that Will Levis is the next Joe Montana or the next Dan Marino or whatever. You won't know that. But I do think that, there's hope that Levis can be the next great quarterback. Is there hope that your defense all of a sudden is going to start turning teams over like they should? Probably not. Probably not. Let's go to 615-737-1025 is our phone number if you want to weigh in at 615-737-1025. Let's go to John, who's up next and has been waiting patiently. Thank you for calling. What's up, John?
Hey, I got a thing on Vrabel I'd like to throw out there. I am not a Titans fan, so I don't have any kind of thing either way on this. What I don't understand, lately, like the past week or so, especially here lately, there's just been so much talk about Vrabel being traded. Hypothetical, of course. And people are mentioning first round picks and this and that. I don't know what Vrabel has done to deserve a first round pick. He's lost the last 13 of 16 games. You do nothing but complain about every coach he has around him. And, I think it's like the 20th ranked offense or so. So if you could just fill me in on what gives the Titans or the Titans media, I guess, the wherewithal to say, oh, we deserve first and second round picks. I just don't get it. So I'll just hang up and listen to what you have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, John. As is the case with almost anything in life, the value of whatever something is worth is what somebody is willing to pay for it. So to your point, I agree. Vrabel has serious warts as a coach. Now, I think every coach probably has their warts, and I'm sure that if I covered Kyle Shanahan every day, I'm sure there'd be things about him that I don't like. But Vrabel absolutely has his warts, and I think they're the warts that hold him back from being an elite coach. But Robert Kraft doesn't know those things. All Robert Kraft thinks about is, that's Mike Vrabel, who was a great linebacker back in our day of the Patriots, and he's gone to Tennessee, and he's a great coach, and that's all he knows. That's all he knows. And Vrabel was a great leader of those Patriot teams. And Vrabel was a very good player of the Patriots. And Vrabel has had some success as a coach. But again, like here, we don't care about what he did 20 years ago for the Patriots. He does. So again, the value of anything is what somebody's willing to pay for. It's like art. You throw some paint around it. I will put it to you like this. I would never spend $1,000 on a painting in my life. Ever. Most paintings cost several $1,000s, and they get bought all the time. I don't get it, but maybe it makes you feel better to have the paint on the wall and, oh no, this painting is worth $18 million. How is 300-year-old paint, how is that worth $18 million? Because somebody's willing to pay for it. 615-737-1025 is the phone number, 615-737-1025. I do want to touch on the Thursday night football game last night because that was another rookie quarterback, although he's struggling. We'll get to that in your phone. Stillman and Company, 102.5-106.3 The Game. Oh, let me tell you about Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. That's right. Hiller is fantastic. And Hiller has been taking care of my home for years, and they can do the exact same for you. And right now, it is getting cold outside again. And so if you need some work with your HVAC system, now's the time to do it with my friends at Hiller. If your system is older or having lots of issues keeping your home warm already, it's probably time for an HVAC replacement before it gets too cold. There's no better time to replace your system than right now because Hiller is having their biggest sale ever on select HVAC systems. Get up to $2,600 off a new system until November 15th. And this is the biggest discount they've had in years. Hiller's work is backed by the Happy You'll Be Your Services free guarantee. And again, I know this because I use Hiller at my home. That's Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical, proud supporters of the Preds, the Vols, and Vandy. Hiller, call the Happy Face truck today.
Vanderbilt basketball lives here.
Hey, it's Kevin Ingram. Join Tim Thompson and me for Friday Night Hoops as Vanderbilt takes on USC Upstate. Pre-game at 5:30.
Your home for the Commodores is 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
When getting the job done right is job one, you need construction equipment that's built right. From compact track loaders to the world's #1 selling compact excavator, the Kubota construction lineup features durable Kubota engines, more comfort, and the versatility to do it all and do it right. Visit your local Kubota dealer today. Go to KubotaUSA.com for full disclaimer.
Visit Coleman Tractor, your local Kubota dealer in Clarksville, Nashville, Paris, and White House today.
Come try Calabria Brick Oven Pizzeria. Their pizza is cooked to perfection, but that's not all they're known for. Try one of their delicious appetizers, salads, fresh calzones, and they have a full bar and dessert. Calabria has been a Mount Juliet staple for 7 years now and has a new location in the heart of Goodlettsville off Long Hollow Pike. Come join the family at Calabria. After all, life's too short to eat bad pizza.
Experience the thrill of gaming glory at Harrah's Casino and Hotel, just a little over 2 hours northwest of Nashville off I-24. Call 1-800-HARRAHS and reserve your room today to indulge in top-tier casino gaming, appetizing dining experiences, and their cutting-edge sports book. As a Caesar Rewards destination, every moment you spend at Harrah's Metropolis earns you points across the entire Caesars empire. It's your time to win with Harrah's Metropolis. Must be 21 or older to gamble. No one to stop before you start. Gambling problem? Call 1-888-BETS-OFF.
You know that feeling you get when your team goes big? You can get that same feeling on Zen Sports. When you sign up for a Zen Sports account, you will receive up to a $1,000 no-danger first wager. That's right. When you place your first bet in Zen Sports, you can be reimbursed for the amount of your first bet up to a $1,000 maximum if the bet loses. No other sportsbook will offer you a premier sports betting experience with 24/7 customer support and faster withdrawals like Zen Sports. Zen Sports. Betting just got better. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-889-9789. Terms and conditions apply. Must be 21 and up and in Tennessee to bet.
Genesis Diamond's biggest and last sale of the year is coming. November 17th through 19th. It's an extraordinary event with savings of 20, 30, up to 35% store-wide. Rings, earrings, pendants, bands, bracelets. Nothing's held back for this once-a-year, 3-day store-wide sale. Acclaimed designers will be flying in with expanded collections and special pricing. Plus, get 0% interest financing. Luxury pre-owned Rolexes are also included. Lab-grown diamonds, too. Discounts up to 35%. Genesis Diamond. November 17th through 19th only. Green Hills and Cool Springs.
One is a legendary NFL wide receiver.
I gotta be prepared. I have to be ready.
One is a legendary Nashville voice.
You don't have to rely on carrying the ball 250 to 300 times.
And the other has been a legendary trash talker on the playground since the 4th grade.
Nobody is a Pro Bowler on day one of rookie minicamp.
They are Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace. Weekdays at 11 on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. You're listening to Stillman and Company on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
We got breaking news. This coming from ESPN. The Big Ten has decided the punishment for Jim Harbaugh. According to Pete Thamel, the Big Ten is expected to discipline Michigan for the in-person scouting and sign-stealing investigation and will prohibit Jim Harbaugh from being on the sideline for the rest of the regular season. So he will be allowed to coach during the week. So basically, Harbaugh is allowed to coach Sunday through Friday. Then on Saturday, somebody else has to wear the headset and decide when to call timeout. I'm sorry, what? This is the weirdest and craziest and, quite frankly, stupidest thing. I mean, this entire scandal is just, I mean, it's so ridiculous. I think I saw somebody write somewhere this morning, and I forget who it was, but they said that the Michigan sign-stealing scandal, when you break it all down, is actually kind of funny. Like, it's really not that big of a deal. And the more I think about it, the more I'm like, this is like Deflategate. You know, Deflategate was stupid. The pressure of the football. Like, oh, they underinflated the ball by 1 PSI, and it became like the biggest story in sports for like 8 months. And you've got Tom Brady going to court against Roger Goodell, and you've got like emails about his parenting with Bridget Moynihan, like all coming out at once. Like, it was crazy. It was wild to me. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, oh my God, what do we do? Like, wow. And it was so stupid. And deep down inside, and you know I love Brady, but like, honestly, they probably were doing it. And when it comes to Michigan, I'm pretty sure Michigan was doing it. So the Big Ten gets the pressure from all the other schools. And the other schools say the Big Ten needs to act. The Big Ten needs to do something. The Big Ten needs to step up to the plate. So on a Friday, before a game, before a big game that's going to get mega ratings for Fox, which is incredibly important to the Big Ten because they just signed that new TV deal, they decide to suspend the coach from coaching on the sideline for 3 games. So he won't be allowed for the rest of the regular season, so he won't be allowed to coach on the sidelines, but the players all get to play and the other coaches are coaching, and so he gets to approve the game plan. And I don't think what is that? That doesn't do anything. That's not a punishment. I mean, I guess it is like because Harbaugh is not going to get to wear the headset, and maybe there is a moment where he wants to call timeout, and he'll be sitting in his living room yelling at the TV like the rest of us. That's not really a punishment, right? Like when people are saying Michigan needs to be punished, it's like Stephen A. Smith going on TV the other day and saying Michigan should be kept out of the college football playoff until this issue is resolved. Like, that is a punishment. And quite frankly, I don't even know if I agree with that or if I don't agree with that. Like, I don't know. Like, here's what I think. I think Michigan did it. I think Michigan knew what they were doing. I think somebody had to approve the money that Connor Stallions was giving these people to go watch and scout and tape the sidelines. Somebody had to be doing it. So somebody had to give him the money. Whoever that is, maybe they kept it away from Harbaugh, but Harbaugh probably knew about it. And even if Harbaugh didn't know about it, that's really not an excuse. This is college sports. My school had Rick Pitino as the coach, and every time something came down the pipe, whether it was the prostitutes in the dorm room or the $100,000 for the player, Rick Pitino was always like, I didn't know. How was I supposed to know? I didn't know. You know, kind of like putting your hand over your la, 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 la. You know you can't get away with that. So I think Harbaugh should probably be fired when all's said and done, and they probably need to clean house at Michigan. But guess what? Those are real punishments. this isn't a real punishment. This is just the Big Ten commissioner saying, I did something. But what did you do? So Harbaugh can't stand on the sidelines? That's it? I mean, I'm trying to figure this out. Maybe I'm not smart enough to understand what this is. And I don't know anything about this Tony Petitti, the new the new commissioner of the Big Ten. I don't know anything about this guy. I don't know him from a jar of Vicks. I heard today that he comes from Major League Baseball. I think I heard that on Robbie and Joe, that he came to the Big Ten from Major League Baseball. Where does the Big Ten keep getting these goofball commissioners from? Remember the last Big Ten commissioner, Kevin Warren, who's now president of the Bears, and how Kevin Warren came out during COVID and he was like, hey, I want all the other Power Fives to cancel the season, okay? So we're going to announce on Monday that we're canceling the season. That worked for everybody? That worked for you? That worked for you? That worked for you? And the SEC and the ACC and the Big 12, they're like, no, that does not work for us. Well, we're going to announce it. So, we're going to be the first ones to announce that we're going to be suspending the season for COVID. And so, well, we're going to do that, okay? And the other leagues were like, I mean, you can do whatever you want, but we're not doing it. Then the Big Ten, Kevin Warren came out, we are canceling the season. And everybody was like, well, then how are the other leagues playing? Like, the NFL's playing, baseball's playing, basketball's playing, hockey's playing, the other conferences are playing. And then they went and reverse course on it. And then they had to change the rules during the season so Ohio State could get into the title game so that they could make the playoff that year because Ohio State didn't play enough games. And I'm like, who is this buffoon who is running the Big Ten? So then he leaves, and they bring in a new guy. And when he left, they hadn't even signed the TV contracts. They had to pay Fox money back because the old commissioner, that bozo, gave games to NBC, including a championship game, that they didn't own because they had already given it to Fox, which was a nightmare to deal with. So this new guy comes in here, and his first big moment as commissioner, I suspended Harbaugh. But he can still coach during the week. What? This whole thing, and I know I use this Yiddish word all the time, fakakta, this thing is so fakakta. Like, this is so screwed up. This gets crazier by the freaking hour. But apparently, that's the punishment. The punishment for Jim Harbaugh is he can coach during the week, but no coaching on Saturdays, including tomorrow's game, so somebody else will be the acting head coach. Like, can Harbaugh, radio in from his house? And if Harbaugh is going to stoop to what he stooped for the Stein stealing, you don't think he would stoop to sending a text message? I mean, this is crazy talk. One texter says, if this was Tennessee, they would be banned from bowls for 3 years and take 40 scholarships. Dude, get over yourself. You guys were paying the players with Pruitt and didn't get any trouble. You'll be okay. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. Again, the breaking news. Jim Harbaugh suspended from coaching in the games, but he can still coach during the week the rest of the year. I don't even know how that's a punishment. I don't even know. Honestly, and I know I just spent 5 minutes talking about it, I don't even know where to begin with how stupid all of this sounds. Hey, be sure to tune in to 94.9 The Fan tomorrow at 11 a.m. for our college football game of the week. Michigan is playing Penn State. How about that? Presented by Twin Peaks. Who's coaching Michigan? I don't know. Take your tailgate to Twin Peaks for scenic views of all the hottest college football games across the country and home of the 29-degree beer. Let me say that I am very excited, by the way, about what Urban Meyer may or may not say tomorrow on that Fox pregame show leading into that Michigan game. All right, coming up next, we have got to have a discussion on the state of the Predators because last night was not pretty. So we'll get to that coming up next. If you want to get in, that would be your time to on the Predators, 615-737-1025. Fireball Hot Take Friday continues. Stillman and Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
He breaks down every game.
The players are still going to be fine.
And knows the ins and outs of the two-tone blue.
They deal with their own position coaches.
He is ESPN NFL Nation Titans reporter Teron Davenport.
It's clear what he's doing.
TD joins every Monday at 1, Thursdays at 3, Friday mornings at 8, and anytime on the Talkin' with TD podcast.
I think that's really cool how he could show both sides.
TD is on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
When Genesis Diamonds has a sale, you know it's the real deal, and it's happening. November 17th through 19th, our final store-wide sale of the year with deep discounts up to 35% off. This is the big one, the one where they break all the rules. Plus, Genesis selection is nearly double, with designers flying in their entire collections, all on sale. This is the last and best jewelry buying opportunity of the year. Luxury pre-owned Rolexes included. Lab-grown diamonds on sale too. Save up to 35% and get zero interest financing. November 17th through 19th at Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills, and Cool Springs.
West Coast Taco Shop features some of the best California-style Mexican food. And this week, you can try it for half off with Nashville's best deal of the week. Their burritos, nachos, quesadillas, and a variety of tacos are delicious. And once you try this authentic cuisine, you'll become a regular. They also have a salsa bar. And ask about their free live music nights. West Coast Taco Shop, Murfreesboro Pike in Nashville. Get half off now at thegamenashville.com/deals.
It's time to celebrate this fall and unleash the beast. Monster Brewing proudly presents to you Beast Unleashed. 0 caffeine, 0 sugar, all the adult beverage fun. The Beast is unleashed with great taste, bold familiar flavors, and 6% alcohol. Go wild with Mean Green, White Haze, Peach Perfect, and Scary Berries. Don't fear the Beast. Enjoy Beast Unleashed at your next tailgate or football party. Drink responsibly. Must be 21 and over.
This year, Staples will not be celebrating the holidays. Instead, we're celebrating the holiday deals with amazing savings for the holiday season. Save 50% on custom holiday cards, save 50% on custom invitations, and save 50% on custom photo gifts like mugs and calendars. During Staples holiday deals, it's not about the ho, ho, ho. It's about saving do, do, do. Save 50% on custom cards, invitations, and photo gifts today at Staples. Ends 12/16. Visit staples.com/print for more details.
Now, your Game Center update.
The Tennessee Titans had their final practice of the week on Friday before they head down to Tampa to take on the Buccaneers. Guard Daniel Brunskill, wide receiver Traylon Burks, defensive back Sean Murphy-Bunting, and tackle Nicholas Petit-Frere are out for the contest. Quarterback Ryan Tannehill and defensive back Anthony Kendall are listed as questionable. Titans versus Bucs will kick off at noon on Sunday. And some breaking college football news. ESPN is reporting that the Big Ten is expected to discipline Michigan by prohibiting head coach Jim Harbaugh from being on the sideline until the conclusion of the regular season, but he will be allowed to coach during the week. The Nashville Predators dropped their final game of the road trip on Thursday night to Winnipeg 6-3. They return home tomorrow night when they host Arizona with puck drop set for 7 p.m. And the Vanderbilt men's basketball team gets back on the hardwood tonight when they host USC upstate. Pregame starts at 5:30 right here on 102.5, 106.3 The Game. From the Game Nashville studios, this is Ian Safar.
Live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne.
Ross Chastain will be first to finish in the Ally 500 at Nashville Super Speedway.
Nashville's exclusive home for NASCAR. 102.5 and 106.3.
Checkered flag is in the air. Man, this is a win in the cup race.
The Game.
A Cromwell media station.
Where you have a voice.
He had a competent coaching staff. You just play terrible and you keep playing.
And we have strong opinions.
What a whiny freaking crybaby response.
This is Stillman and Company with Jared Stillman on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game, streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. On a Fireball Hot Take Friday, guys, the Predators right now stink. That was a horrendous road trip. Last night's game just cemented a 1-4 road trip, and the Predators are in last place. And according to MoneyPuck.com, they own a 15% chance of making the playoffs this year. So, the Predators went into that road trip with kind of, some hope early in the season. They were doing fine. They were, treading water. They were floating there right at the, 500 line. And then they go 1-4 on the road. I mean, they just stunk it up. And last night, they never really had much of a chance. It was tied 1-1 after the first period. Forsberg had a beautiful goal. I mean, beautiful. But the Predators couldn't play any defense. They barely had the puck last night. I want to say the shot count was something like, what was it, Ian, like 38-15?
I don't know if it was that bad, but it was pretty bad.
It was bad. And the only reason it was remotely close at all was because UC Saros actually played pretty well. The veterans on the team aren't very good. And quite frankly, I have decided that, now they've got a bunch of home games in a row after their road trip. They either need to win those to get back into it, or the second option is embrace the tank. So either one, use these games at home tomorrow night against Arizona. Arizona is surprisingly not terrible to start the season. They've been horrendous for the last however many years. They have awful ownership. They don't have an arena. They don't have any fans that care, but they are not doing very poorly this year. And so Arizona comes in here. You need to beat them tomorrow. You need to start winning some of these games. You play Chicago next weekend as well. Like, you need to start winning these games. You need to get hot going into U.S. Thanksgiving. It's probably a pipe dream for you to be in the playoff discussion at U.S. Thanksgiving, but it's still kind of early. So either you get hot to kind of balance out the damage that you did to yourself on this terrible road trip, or embrace the tank. And let me say this when it comes to embracing the tank. I am fine with either. If they win enough games to get back into the discussion and, every game is close down the stretch and they're competing to make the playoffs, and so these young guys like Tommy Novak or Cody Glass or, Del Gaizo, the defenseman who's already better than Jeremy Lauzon, like those guys can be part of something, and your veteran players can play better and are more energized about having something to play for, good. I'm here for it. But if not, and you start to head towards Christmas and this thing is trending in the wrong direction and your team's not very good, then I am embracing the tank. And they're going to have to be okay with that. And you're going to have to be okay with that. I have already made my bed when it comes to, being able to survive the tank or live through the tank or not get upset about the tank, because for forever I begged the Predators to tear this thing down. In 2021, midway through the year, I begged them. I said, tear this thing down. Tear it down. Trade Ryan Ellis. Trade Matthias Ekholm, trade Victor Arvidsson, trade all these guys, these veteran players on the team, trade them. And get whatever you can and blow it up and move on. And had they done that, then you wouldn't be embracing the tank now, but they didn't want to do that. They kept it together. No, we can compete. Then they got smoked in the playoffs by Colorado. No, we can compete. And so finally, it took them through midway through last year, and they were like, okay, fine, you're right. We can't do this. Well, the reason they were avoiding rebuilding and blowing it up was because they were afraid of what it would look like if they did that and if they had to, quote-unquote, embrace the tank. Now, again, I'm not saying that the Predators should be tanking. Barry Trotz was on our show earlier this week, and he said they've got veteran defensemen that need to be playing better, and he's not lying. Tyson Barrie last night, I mean, will that guy ever get his ass back? Carrier kind of stinks. Lauzon's terrible. Yossi is in the wrong place at the wrong time way too often for a guy who makes as much money as he does. But again, I'm okay with it if that's the path they choose to go, to embrace the tank. But if you had told me before the game yesterday, yeah, Philip Forsberg, who hasn't been scoring, Philip Forsberg's going to score twice and Philip Tomasino's going to score, I'd say, okay, they're going to win. And the fact that they didn't win, the fact that it wasn't even particularly all that close, that is alarming and disheartening. But again, it's a path of one or the other. It's either we're going to get ourselves out of this, we're going to compete this year, we're going to get it together by Christmas and, give us a chance, or it's embrace the tank and see, at the trade deadline, if somebody wants Gustav Nyquist, or if somebody wants one of these older defensemen, or if somebody wants, something or another, and just know that you're going to be picking fourth in the draft this year, and that's not a bad thing. And I'm okay with either. What I'm not okay with is trading a second-round pick for a guy like Jeremy Lauzon at the deadline because you think you're that one guy away. That is not acceptable, inexcusable. We're not doing it this year. And I really don't have any worry with Barry Trotz in charge. I really don't have any worry that they're going to do that. So as far as the state of the Predators, we'll get to your phones because I promised it, 615-737-1025. And our phone lines are driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. And I don't want to speak for you all, but I do kind of feel like a lot of you are like me, where you're just like, well, this is what we signed up for when we kept saying rebuild, rebuild, rebuild. And there shouldn't be anger in that regard. And some of these guys that they think are going to be dudes, they're going to call up and they're going to stink. And they're going to say, well, we used a second-round pick on that guy and he sucks, so now we have to move on. And that's the whole point of this process. You keep the guys who are good, you get rid of the guys who end up not being good, and then you draft more of them, and you just keep the cycle going until you're good again. Phone lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. One texter says, on the Predators, I don't know who any of these plumbers are. Foodie, the guy says in all caps, for the most part, their first rounder, Tomasito, rides the pine. I thought this was about bringing up the youth. If this is a rebuild, the Predators have a long time to wait, and I'm not sure what for. So I would agree with you that, when Barry comes on, and I love Barry, but when Barry comes on and he starts talking about Fajimo and Foodie, and I'm like, those guys, you claim them off waivers. I'm not, I don't care about guys you claim off of waivers. Those are, you guys ask what the word Scarbini means, that's what that is. So when that guy's out there, or McCarron's out there, or, those guys, I don't care too much about that. On the Tomasino thing, I'm convinced they think there's still something there, they still think there's a chance. But I think everybody's getting a little impatient around here. Now, he did score yesterday. And did you see how excited he got when he scored? So you can tell he's frustrated. So at least there's that. Here's the way I view it, right? When you say youth movement, that means that they want guys like Parsonen to be good or Evangelista to be good. So they're putting them in opportunities where they can be good. And for a guy like Parsonen, he hasn't been good. So what they did was they scratched him last night as kind of a, hey, man, if you really want to prove you can play up here, we're putting you on a line with Ryan O'Reilly and Philip Forsberg. If you really want to prove you can play up here, you need to get it together. That's kind of what that's about. One texter says the Predators should go after Patrick Kane. Again, that's not what embracing the tank is. That is taking a spot away. Kane's not going to make it that much better at this point in his career. That's taking a spot away from one of these young guys. Keezer just texted me and said Fajimo is back on waivers.
That's true. That happened earlier, yep. So,
whatever. But again, those guys, I don't care about them. I mean, I was talking to somebody the other day, and I do think the second line's pretty good, right? Tommy Novak and
inconsistent, young but good, promising.
Yes, Evangelista, and they consider Kiefer Sherwood a young guy. I don't, and I think he's a Scarbini, so I'm not that worried about it. But again, those two guys are to me they've got potential to be pretty good. So I think you're fine there. I think, your third line, your checking line, your Sissons and Trennans, those guys are fine. You believe in them. That's whatever. A fourth line is a grinder line. I'm not going to get too concerned about who plays on the fourth line or who doesn't. I just look at it and I'm like, okay, O'Reilly's pretty good. Forsberg, when he's hot, which it looks like he's getting hot, when Forsberg's hot, he's pretty good. They need a third guy on that line. That's where they need a big boy winger. And I'm told that Kimmel in Milwaukee might be that guy. But they're not going to rush Kimmel. And I think that's a good idea. And I'm for it. Don't rush them. It's like Barry said, we're cooking them in the minors. We're not microwaving them in the pros. I'm okay with that. So there's a nuance to this that I guess I understand, that I feel comfortable with, even if it means they're going to lose some more games. Texture said, after the first couple of games, I felt great about the Predators. They looked great, new coach, and I felt good going into the season, and all of a sudden they go 1-5 and they're second in the division. What in the world happened? I can't tell you what happened, other than the fact that they just went out on the road out there to Western Calgary or Western Canada and got their asses beat. There's nothing else I can tell you other than that. But they've dug themselves a hole. They're in last place. They host Arizona tomorrow. And either they turn this thing around soon or it's embrace the tank. By the way, they want everybody in their seats tomorrow if you're going to the game, and I am. They want everybody in the seats tomorrow at 7 o'clock for the as they honor Ryan O'Reilly for playing his 1,000th NHL game. Corey Curtis, News 2, Titans and Buccaneers, Will Levis, round 3. What are we thinking? We'll do that next. Stillman and Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Let me tell all the fine folks that this week's Nashville's best deal is West Coast Taco Shop. Try some of the best California-style Mexican food at West Coast Taco Shop on Murfreesboro Pike in Nashville. Their burritos, nachos, quesadillas, and a variety of tacos are delicious. Go to thegamenashville.com/deals to get half off a $20 gift card while supplies last.
So let me just kind of clear up some things here going forward. We're going to go with Will. We think that's the best opportunity for our football team.
Finally, you can all calm down.
Well, whether this is fair of me or not, I feel relieved.
Everything we're doing, we're trying to do in the best interest of the football team.
But it does bring a sense of energy.
Keep it locked to Nashville's best Titans talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
It's back. Family Leisure's Ultimate Game Room sale is back.
Okay, so what's that mean?
That means huge discounts, up to 50% off on all kinds of game room furniture and accessories.
Like what?
Up to 50% off on slate pool tables from Brunswick and Legacy Billiards. Prices start as low as $14.99 installed, plus the matching bars and game tables. Even poker tables to complete our game room are on sale as well. The guaranteed largest selection and lowest prices in the Mid-South.
Wow, perfect for Christmas.
Family Leisure is also featuring huge savings on massage chairs and home theater seating. Full body massage chairs starting at only $9.99. And the top-of-the-line 40 massage chair is more than half off at $29.99.
What about the theater seating?
Family Leisure guarantees to be half off anyone's home theater seating. 3-piece recliner sets start at only $9.99. Full power reclining real leather seats are only $19.99.
That's great! And they have stand-up and desktop arcade games with over 600 games, shuffleboards, foosball, and air hockey tables.
It really is the Ultimate Game Room sale.
The Ultimate Game Room sale going on now at both locations, Franklin and Antioch.
Willie Donick here for Pella Windows and Doors of Nashville. The official brand perception report for doors and windows is in. Pella Windows and Doors are the leading brand among all others. A few reasons why. Pella is regarded as the highest quality, the most innovative, and the installers with Pella of Nashville lead the way for attention to detail. That's why Pella Windows and Doors of Nashville is one of Pella's top locations in the country. For new doors or windows, I suggest you choose the experts at Pella Windows and Doors of Nashville. Go to PellaNashville.com.
It's the Electronic Express Black Friday Savings Marathon. Every Sunday means hot new deals. Get the gifts you want and save up to 50% throughout the entire store. Get the Samsung 75-inch 4K TV, only $649, plus other hot deals. At Electronic Express, dream big, pay small with up to 36 months free financing on items like a Samsung French door refrigerator, only $13.99, or an Acer laptop, now only $199. Shop the Black Friday Savings Marathon at Electronic Express. We make it happen.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. 120,000 miles of night drives, daily commutes, and who knows how many.
Are we there yet?
Through countless fixes, elbow grease, and a new radiator, you kept your ride alive. With eBay Motors, you have over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Calling all sweet tooths. Head to Nashville Toffee Company, a place where rich, chocolatey daydreams are created from a secret family recipe generations in the making. Their toffees and candies are handcrafted in Nashville using all natural, kosher-certified ingredients. Sweet creamery butter, pure cane sugar, premium roasted nuts, deep rich chocolate, and sea salt. Visit NashvilleToffeeCompany.com or drop by their headquarters on Air Lane Drive for a positively hassle-free shopping experience. Whether you're buying for 1 or 100, Nashville Toffee Company is here to make your holiday gift giving easy.
Tap that app. Download the Game Nashville app on your smartphone so you can listen to Stillman & Company on the go.
This is Stillman & Company on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. Strong opinions and a strong personality on your drive home. This is Stillman & Company on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Make your silly underdog picks for your chance to win weekly prizes. You can play at thegamenashville.com or the 102.5 The Game app. Silly underdog picks is presented by Volunteer Hose and Gasket. Round number 3 for Will Levis and the Titans on the road at Tampa. Now, I want everybody to understand something. Tampa stinks, and you stink. So that's kind of a wash. But Tampa got embarrassed last week by C.J. Stroud. That's bad. So just keep that in mind. Corey Curtis joins us now from News 2 on the program. Corey, I have gone all Miss Cleo on everybody about what's going to happen in the Titans game on Sunday. My gut is the Titans are going to play decent on offense. They'll get down to the red zone. They won't score touchdowns. The offensive line will be a disaster. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers will be able to run the football all over them. It'll be a close game in the fourth quarter. Tampa will take the lead, and then with about 4 minutes left, Levis will have to engineer a drive that scores a touchdown to win, and they will not accomplish that, and they will lose. And the reason I say that is because all these road games have been the same. Am I wrong for jumping to conclusions?
Of course you're wrong for jumping to conclusions. You're always wrong for jumping to conclusions. I mean, you walk around with a tinfoil hat on every day.
You think that you think that this is going to be any different than all the other road games except for Cleveland, which was the worst coach game of the Vrabel era?
Look, I don't know if it's going to be any different or not. I would be surprised if the Bucs ran all over them. They're averaging 3.1 yards per carry this year. They've been pretty terrible running the football. Now, obviously, the Titans have been pretty terrible at stopping the run. But of all the problems the Titans have got, I view the run defense as the most fixable. Because they've got the guys to fix it with, and I think it's more of a discipline issue than I think it is a capability issue. So I think that's one area that I think that they can certainly do better in. My concern is, the Bucs are good against the run, and like you said, the Titans' offensive line's a disaster. I think they need to spread the field and chuck the football against a team that's giving up 280 yards passing a game. The kid's your quarterback. Let him go play.
Yeah, I mean, again, I don't think that Tampa Bay is going to let you do that because if you do that, then Shaq Barrett and Villa get to go up against your offensive line. The Titans have no prayer, in my opinion, this season, Corey, of having a good offense because the offensive line is so bad. The only hope is to have a below-average offense, and right now they're probably not even below average. They're probably just terrible.
Well, look, we've seen good quarterbacks put up good numbers despite bad offensive lines. Obviously that there are limitations to that. You've got to be able to get rid of the football. But, what did we see from Levis in the game against the Falcons? I think his average release time was 2.4 seconds. If he can get rid of the ball quickly, that will certainly help things out. They are allowed to help their offensive line. I know I've gotten in fights with fans on this, some who seem to think you have to send out 5 receivers every time. You don't. You can send out 3 or you can send out 4, but you can help those guys some. I think that's certainly something that they could do. I agree. I don't expect the offensive line to be great or even good at some point this year, and that will keep the offense from being great or good at some point this year. But, it's a Bucs team. It's kind of strange to give up 280 yards passing a game, but I think they're only giving up 20 points per game, which is kind of odd and kind of scary when you see the Titans' red zone numbers. But I think it could be a big day for DeAndre Hopkins. I think there could be more points on the board both ways in this one than we expect.
So, to that point, Corey Curtis is with us, News 2. What do you really expect Will Levis to do? Like, what is the I don't want to say the hope for Levis, but, like, what do you actually expect to see out of him on Sunday? Because I think there's going to be a lot of fans that want to see what C.J. Stroud did last week, and that's just not going to happen.
I don't care what C.J. Stroud – I enjoyed what C.J. Stroud did last week. He's a heck of a player. I want to see Will Levis continue to have confidence. I want to see him continue to be prepared, to continue to look like the game isn't too big for him. That's what I want to see. And then, I want to see him learn to not throw the ball into triple coverage at the end of the game. And that's why he's out there, right? To help erase some of those mistakes. But I also want to see him continue to make plays. And there is no quarterback in the NFL who has more 20-yard throws the last 2 weeks than Will Levis. And so I want to see that charisma, that swag, that confidence to push the ball down the field and let these guys make some plays for him. Now, that takes some blocking. I know that's what's going to come next, to push it down the field some. But you are allowed to extend plays, and you are allowed to get it up there and let them go get it. And so, those are the things I'm going to continue to look for, to see him handling the moment.
So you asked Vrabel a question about that, about it not being too big for Levis.
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
Well, I mean, when Malik Willis walks on the field, it's too big for him. I mean, he's not ready.
Is it too big for him, or does he just suck?
No, it's too big for him. He doesn't know what to do. I mean, he's clutching the football. He's afraid to let it go. I mean, we're 2 years in, and he's afraid to let go of the football. He's not ready for the moment. Malik's got way more ability than we've seen. Can we agree on that?
I mean, I don't
he's
think
got more athletic ability to play that position than we've seen.
Yeah, but he's just not good. Like, he has no accuracy. He doesn't, the timing, like all those, like the nuance of the position he's horrible at.
But he gets out there and he's paralyzed on what to do. I know you asked Vrabel about his game awareness, staying in bounds, in the closing seconds instead of going out of bounds. I mean, those are the types of things. When Will walks on the field, he owns the place. I mean, there's no doubt about it. He's not afraid. I mean, there's no throws he's afraid of. There's no defenses he's afraid of. I mean, I'm speaking after watching 2 games, but you've been watching this thing for a while. I've been watching this thing for a while. You know it when you see it. And that doesn't mean he can't lose that confidence if things go poorly for a long time. But he's got the preparation. He puts the work in, and he believes in the work that he's putting in. And so he's not afraid, okay? He gets back there. He knows what to do with the football. It doesn't mean it always gets there. It doesn't mean it's always complete. But he generally knows what to do and has high expectations of himself, to do it. Tom Brady, greatest ever. I mean, that if you watch the Brady special, he talked about buying a house, his rookie year, and his agent was telling him, "What are you doing?" He's like, "I got this." He had supreme confidence in himself. Even then, Will Levis has supreme confidence in himself. And at that position, you got to have it. And it's fun to see, and I'm excited to see where it takes him.
What do you make of the fact that the coach is afraid when it comes to him? Because
that's something I don't like. That is because, he's your quarterback. And, come hell or high water, you got to let him play. You got to let him play. I'll never forget the Bears in the Super Bowl with Rex Grossman. They tried to hide him for 3 quarters, and then in the 4th quarter they said, "Rex, go get him. Go win us the game." And that was ridiculous. That was ridiculously stupid. He is your quarterback. You have given him the job. You can help him. Running the ball, of course, always helps young quarterbacks. But you can't hide him, all right? He's out there for a reason, and he's got a ton of ability. The coach even acknowledged that. You see something there. There's definitely something there. You ride him, and you see where he can take you. I mean, that's what this is all about, isn't it? Ride the kid, put him in the best position possible to succeed because that's your job, but don't try to win in spite of him. I mean, you and I both, you've watched games where teams try to win in spite of their quarterback. That's not what we need to see here. We need to see them let the kid win the game for them.
Yeah. I do think Vrabel operates differently than we do, but you are onto something there. What do you make of the Boston Globe report about Vrabel?
It's not surprising. It's not surprising at all. I mean, where do people usually turn when they make changes? They usually turn to people they know and trust. Sure. And, Mike Vrabel's a Patriot. He's gone into Foxborough and won. He's got tons of charisma. He's there being named into their Hall of Fame. He's getting tons of applause from everybody. And I'm sure, he's glad to be there. I mean, the best years of his career are there. I mean, there's a lot of love there, and Mike's a good football coach, so I would expect them to be very interested in Mike Vrabel, and I would expect them to be very interested in moving on from Bill Belichick because their team is getting worse and worse every year. It's a nice position to be in if you're the Titans because you're holding all the cards.
Fireball Hot Take Friday. What's your hot take this week?
Jared, I was wrong last week. I was wrong, and the Bears actually did something right and gave Montez Sweat a big deal. Now, was it too big of a deal? Probably, but if you're going to trade a second-round pick for him, you better hang on to him, and they did. But I'm going to hit my Bears one more time. They did win last night, and it was great to see them beat that horrific Panthers team. But I'm going to predict they're going to screw it up, even though they're sending the Panthers on their way to the first pick of the draft, which means the Bears would get the first pick of the draft for the second year in a row. I predict somehow, some way, they'll trade it and screw it up. And instead of taking Caleb Williams, they'll stick with Justin Fields, and they'll watch Caleb Williams go win 100 Super Bowls, whoever they trade away the first pick to.
Yeah, I'm not worried about that. I think if they get the first pick, Caleb Williams is going to be their quarterback.
He better be, right? I mean, this is the easiest. I mean, this is as easy as Andrew Luck, all right?
Well, I don't think it's that easy. I mean, it'd be nice if Caleb Williams would win some games in college.
Caleb Williams has won some games in college, all right? Like they didn't lose to Washington because of Caleb Williams. He put 42 points on the board.
Hey, sometimes you got to go win those games. I mean, that's what they tell me about Levis.
How many times has Southern Cal given up 40 points? And
no, their defense is terrible. Terrible. But I am not as sold on Caleb Williams as I was before the season.
Okay.
Corey Curtis.
There are at least 20 teams in the NFL that would take Caleb Williams.
There may be more than that. Corey Curtis, news too, as always, on our program. Hey, then again, what about Bryce Young?
Yeah, somebody's getting fired over that one.
We will get to Bryce Young next. Corey, great stuff. Appreciate you, as always.
Bye.
Let's get to Bryce Young. I want to talk about that performance. I had to watch the condensed game on NFL Plus, where it's just play this morning because I watched the Louisville football game last night. I'm going to subject myself to watching that crap hole when Louisville was playing. But I did watch the condensed game. I did see what Bryce Young did. I did see the Panthers and the Bears. And I've got an opinion on this that, again, Corey said someone's getting fired over Bryce Young. We'll get to that next. Stillman and Company, 102.5-1063 The Game. And tune in to 93.3 Classic Hits tomorrow for MTSU football. The Blue Raiders kick off at 2:30 at home against FIU. Pregame at 1:30, and coverage is available on the 93.3 Classic app and at 93.3classichits.com.
All the big plays.
Rebound, try out in front, and Saros covers it up.
All the big stories.
Andrew Burnett reportedly hired as the next head coach of the Predators.
All in one place. We are Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3.
Checkered flag is in the air.
Comparing goalies to running backs.
46-27 Vanderbilt.
Does this group of players need more?
The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Get ready for a magical holiday experience at Belmead Historic Site and Winery. Join us for our free holiday open house Thursday, November 16th from 5 till 8 p.m. Meet Santa and Mrs. Claus, tour our enchanting mansion, and delight in holiday crafts and activities for the whole family. Treat yourself with our renowned wines and bourbon from Belmead Winery and savor foods from the Belmead Meat and 3. Let's create cherished memories that will last a lifetime at Belmead Historic Site and Winery. Only 7 miles from downtown Nashville. Reserve online at visitbelmead.com.
Need cash for the holidays or want to be credit card debt free for the new year? Call Loan Pronto today. Their Express Equity line of credit can get you $20,000, $50,000, $100,000 in as little as 5 days. Willie Donick here. Listen up. You've got a ton of equity in your home, and Loan Pronto can help turn that equity into cash to put it to use. You can access up to 95% of your home's value. Use the money to pay off all your credit cards or pay off personal loans. Start the home improvement project you've been looking for. You can get the money you need now and still keep your primary mortgage intact, so your 3% rate is protected. Call right now, 615-499-5780. Get the holiday cash you need or pay off all those credit cards. 615-499-5780 or go online at loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781, subject to lender approval.
It's time to celebrate this fall and unleash the beast. Monster Brewing proudly presents to you Beast Unleashed. 0 caffeine, 0 sugar, all the adult beverage fun. The Beast is unleashed with great taste, bold familiar flavors, and 6% alcohol. Go wild with Mean Green, White Haze, Peach Perfect, and Scary Berries. Don't fear the Beast. Enjoy Beast Unleashed at your next tailgate or football party. Drink responsibly. Must be 21 and over.
Are you ready to make a difference for the environment while helping the visually impaired at the same time? Then donate your vehicle to Heritage for the Blind today by calling 1-800-983-6530. Every donated vehicle will either be properly recycled in an eco-friendly manner or given a new life through reuse. Donating your vehicle is easy. Simply call 1-800-983-6530 and Heritage for the Blind will do the rest. They'll even arrange for your vehicle to be picked up at no cost to you. And for a limited time, when you donate your car, you'll receive a $200 restaurant voucher and a 2-night, 3-day hotel stay at one of 50 locations. Call 1-800-983-6530 right now to schedule your vehicle donation and make a positive impact on the environment while helping others. Heritage for the Blind, where every car donation counts and every person makes a difference. Call 1-800-983-6530 now. This advertisement is paid for by Heritage for the Blind.
We are Nashville's best sports talk, live and local from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. When you want the national
Hey. I got this. I'll take it from here.
Okay, go ahead. Dying to hear this.
We have the best national voices that you'll find anywhere.
Who was more deserving of being thrown from their game?
I'm odd, so I get the odd picks.
They have a new coaching staff.
It's not a bad scenario for them.
We are 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
And 94.9 The Fan.
Hey Nashville, this is Gary Bettman. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Second down and goal at the 4-yard line. Bajan with it back to his right. Mooney in motion. He hands off. Foreman twisting, diving into the end zone for the touchdown. Touchdown! Bears have the lead.
We're all frustrated. Frustrating situation to be in. It's not who we are, not who we want to be, but that's what we are. We put on tape. We already put in the field, and we have to be better.
No, I'm not worried about Bryce's confidence. I think he's mentally tougher than a lot of rookie quarterback. I mean, as a rookie quarterback, considering the start we've had, I don't think I see any retreat in him. That's not the right word. I see aggressiveness. I see resolve.
That was Frank Reich. Boy, do you miss that voice? We used to play Frank Reich cuts rather regularly when he was coach of the Colts. And everybody on TV told us how good of a coach Frank Reich was. And then the Colts finally fired him. And I'll tell you, he's a great offensive mind. He's this, he's that. So last night, Carolina got beat by Chicago, even though Carolina got a punt return for a touchdown. And so the offense was so bad that they scored a total of 6 points outside of the punt return they had for a touchdown. And there's two camps here. There is the camp of, boy, you screwed up by trading the entire world to go get Bryce Young and drafting him number 1 ahead of C.J. Stroud and Will Levis. And then there's the camp of reality, which is that team sucks. But the truth is actually somewhere towards the middle. And I'm going to explain. I can't tell you right now, Bryce Young or C.J. Stroud, I can't tell you who the better quarterback is. I can tell you who's playing better right now. It's C.J. Stroud. I can tell you who's set up for more success in the future. It's C.J. Stroud. I can tell you who the better college player was. It was Bryce Young. But here's why I can't differentiate between the two. Because on one hand, I've got C.J. Stroud, whose team has a $30 million left tackle, a $20 million left guard, a $12 million right guard, and a veteran $4 million right tackle. They got 4 receivers, 3 of which they acquired this year, Robert Woods and Noah Brown from the Cowboys in free agency, and Tank Dell in the draft. They also got him a tight end, a legitimate starting tight end in Dalton Schultz. And he's got Bobby Slowick as his offensive coordinator, who is the next Shanahan guru. And if we've learned anything, it is that the Shanahan tree bears fruit. Belichick's tree, nothing. Shanahan's tree, the next guy, he always knows what he's doing. When I watch Houston play, I watch C.J. Stroud do multiple things. I see them roll him out. I see play action. I see him taking shots to the sideline. I see them running the football effectively. I see them, and again, their running game is not very good, and it should be better with how much they've spent on the offensive line, but they're still committed to running it. Like, they still try to run the ball because they understand if we don't run it at all, like if we don't ever run it, then they're just going to tee off on the rookie quarterback. I watched Carolina last night, and I saw, everybody talking about those receivers are so bad, that offensive line's so bad, and you're not wrong. But the offensive line for Carolina is not as bad as it's made out to be. At least it wasn't last night. Bryce Young lines up in the shotgun on every play. They never roll him out. They never use play action. He just stands in the shotgun, kicks his leg up like Dak Prescott before every snap, and gets the ball, and it's either a direct handoff or it is a pass. There were so many times last night when Bryce Young was in the pocket and had a legitimate pocket, and there was just nobody to throw to. And so that's why the truth is in the middle. I keep talking about ruining quarterbacks. And you bet your sweet ass I am still worried the Titans can ruin Will Levis. I talk about it all the time. But the Panthers are an example of ruining a quarterback. And I'm not saying they're going to ruin Bryce Young, but they're on the path to ruining Bryce Young. You've got an impatient owner who doesn't understand the NFL. He's owned the Panthers for 4 years. He's on his third coach. His second coach was a college guy who he paid an exorbitant amount of money to, who had never done anything in the NFL. His third coach is an offensive guru who never did anything in Indianapolis. So he hires Frank Reich. The assets he has, they have had some good players on their team. They've got a pass rusher that apparently the Rams offered 2 first-round picks for, and they turned down, which is ridiculous. But they've got a pass rusher, they had a running back, and they had a receiver. Well, last year, when they didn't know, I guess at that time, that they were going to mortgage the farm in order to go get the quarterback, they had to rebuild, so they traded the running back. Then this year, in order to get the quarterback, they traded the receiver. And they traded next year's first-round draft choice. So what they gave up in order to get the quarterback was an infrastructure to surround the quarterback. The running back, one of the best in the NFL, if not the best, gone. The receiver, probably a top 10 receiver in the NFL, gone. Next year's pick, which could be the first overall pick in the draft, gone. How's this kid supposed to get any better? How is Bryce Young supposed to get any better? He's got no receivers. He's throwing to an old pawpaw Adam Thielen. How is he supposed to get any better? You trade away, you don't trade. If you're going to break in a rookie quarterback, you don't trade away DJ Moore. You do whatever you can to keep DJ Moore. And so some quarterbacks are the great of the greats, like Manning and Burrow and Elway, and you can screw up, and that'll be okay. Joe Burrow will overcome it. But for the most part, all of these quarterbacks need a little help. Patrick Mahomes got into the league with Andy Reid, Travis Kelce, and Tyreek Hill. Bryce Young's not getting Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill. He's got a terrible coach. He's got a terrible owner. He's got terrible receivers. They traded away the running back. How is this kid supposed to succeed? I have no idea how you could watch that last night and think Bryce Young is set up for success. And then I turn on SportsCenter after the Louisville game, and SVP's on talking to Herm, and you know I love Herm, but I'm listening to SVP talk to Herm, and Van Pelt's like, well, C.J. Stroud's not in a good situation either, Herm. And Herm's like, well, you're kind of right. I'm like, no. C.J. Stroud's got 4 receivers. C.J. Stroud's got Dalton Schultz. C.J. Stroud has a $30 million tackle. Bryce shouldn't have any of that. How is Bryce Young supposed to succeed? And this is what it is. It's the owner. The owner, and I don't know how David Tepper made all the money that he made, but whatever it was that he did, he must have been very smart at that. But he's not very smart at football. He gets to the league, and he pays $1 gajillion to buy the Panthers, and so he gets the team, and now it's like, this is my team. And any owner that does that, if you're coaching somewhere and the owner walks in and says, my team, it's like, dude, you're getting fired. Like, I'm just telling you, you could be Vince Lombardi, and it wouldn't matter. You're getting fired because the owner is going to make this his team, so he's going to get his coach. So then he goes to college to go get his coach for my team, and he wants a quarterback. The problem is none of the quarterbacks want him. Deshaun wasn't interested in going there, so he ends up signing Teddy Bridgewater. Well, Teddy Bridgewater is, a probably bottom-of-the-league type starter, quarterback number 26. Well, he didn't like that, so he wants to move on. So then he gets Sam Darnold. Well, Sam Darnold, again, not great coaching with the college guy. Sam Darnold is learning on the job after the Jets ruined him with Adam Gase. And so after 1 year, he doesn't like him anymore. So now we trade for Baker Mayfield. No offseason program for Baker. He shows up at the start of training camp, and so Baker's our guy. Again, quarterback what, 23, 24? So Baker's our guy with new receivers and a new offense that he doesn't know, and Baker goes early. Then we put Darnold back in. Darnold plays well, but again, we want the quarterback. So instead of saying, hey, Sam Darnold played well last year, and we had a chance to compete for the playoffs, and Steve Wilkes did a nice job with this group, instead of saying that, the owner says, nope, I got to go get Frank Reich, and I'm going to sell the farm to go get Bryce Young. So now you got no farm, you got a 5'10" quarterback, and a terrible coach. Got no shot. He's got no shot. This stuff matters for young quarterbacks. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. We'll get to your phones. 615-737-1025 if you want to weigh in. And I do have a thought on Vrabel and how this kind of, ties into Vrabel about something that we're going to learn for the first time in the 6 years he's been the coach. We'll do that next. Let me tell you about Twice Daily. If you score, and you being the Titans, if the Titans score in the last 2 minutes of either half, if you are a loyalty member, you get a free half sub at Twice Daily. That's right. If the Titans score any points in the last 2 minutes of either half, so it could be with the clock ticking down and the ball goes right through the uprights for a field goal and you win the game and everybody's happy, and you get to go to Twice Daily. It could be a pick six and a blowout that happens at the end of the first half, and guess what? You still get a free half sub the next day. That's right. You score a free half sub at Twice Daily if the Titans score in the last 2 minutes of either half. You score when the Titans score. Download the Twice Daily app and join their loyalty program to unlock special discounts, savings, and so much more. It pays to be a member with Twice Daily, where you'll earn points and save money with every visit. Get what you crave at Twice Daily. Made to order sandwiches, bakery, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, fresh items made to go, hot drink, cold drinks, and of course, stop by the beer cave to unwind with a cold one. If you're looking for convenience, Twice Daily has you covered. Twice Daily, fresh all day.
Blue Raider football lives on 93.3 Classic Hits.
Hey, it's Big Joe. Join Chip Walters and me as MTSU returns home to Floyd Stadium this Saturday. It's our salute to service as the Blue Raiders take on FIU. Our coverage begins at 2.
Your home for the Blue Raiders is 93.3 Classic Hits.
Genesis Diamond's biggest and last sale of the year is coming November 17th through 19th. It's an extraordinary event with savings of 20, 30, up to 35% store-wide. Rings, earrings, pendants, bands, bracelets. Nothing's held back for this once-a-year, 3-day store-wide sale. Acclaimed designers will be flying in with expanded collections and special pricing. Plus, get 0% interest financing. Luxury pre-owned Rolexes are also included. Lab-grown diamonds, too. Discounts up to 35%. Genesis Diamond, November 17th through 19th only, Green Hills and Cool Springs.
The Parker Store at 1909 Nolensville Road in Nashville is the Parker Factory Authorized Store for your Parker hydraulic, pneumatic, water, and chemical hose needs. They stock metric tubing and hose connections to 42 millimeters in size, and they'll fabricate while you wait up to 6,000 PSI hydraulic hoses in a 2-inch size. Call the Parker Store at 615-248-8245 for all the Parker requirements you have. The Parker Store, 1909 Nolansville Road.
It's the Electronic Express Black Friday Savings Marathon. Every Sunday means hot new deals. Get the gifts you want and save up to 50% throughout the entire store. Get the Samsung 75-inch 4K TV, only $649, plus other hot deals. At Electronic Express, dream big, pay small with up to 36 months free financing on items like a Samsung French door refrigerator, only $13.99, or an Acer laptop, now only $199. Shop the Black Friday Savings Marathon at Electronic Express. We make it happen.
Houston Clinic Orthopedics wants to thank their patients for voting them the #1 orthopedic practice in the Nashville Scene Poll for 3 years in a row. Their physicians specialize in spine, joint replacement, knee, hip, upper extremity, and other orthopedic conditions. At Houston Clinic Orthopedics, they adhere to all CDC guidelines for the patient's and staff safety. To experience world-class orthopedic care and see a list of all physicians, visit their website at tn.houston.com and book your appointment online today.
You've heard of AI. We want you to know that some messages and content we broadcast is produced using AI. All content produced or written with AI is supervised by our staff before airing. AI is only a tool for all of us, and we use it for that purpose. You can be assured that we will not use AI in any way that is unworthy of your trust.
Jim Gaffigan here with some more Straight Talk. Now you can get a Walmart Plus membership, plus not pay for it, because it's included with Straight Talk wireless plans. You get free delivery with Walmart Plus, plus a Paramount Plus subscription included. Plus, you pay less for gas. That's a lot of pluses.
Only Straight Talk gives you unlimited 5G data and Walmart Plus included on select plans for free.
Straight Talk Wireless, available at Walmart.
Requires service on Gold or Platinum Unlimited. One offer per eligible account. Paramount Plus Essential Plan only. Separate registration required. Additional terms apply.
Insightful discussion.
When we talk about the person that these players are.
3 goals scored in the first 5 minutes.
He wants to be the starter, day one. Mixed with spirited debate.
Okay, but Derek, let's Professor Derek.
They are Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace. With Caroline Fenton, Willie Donick, and former NFL wide receiver Derek Mason.
We got the whole thing covered. We got it all covered.
Here.
Weekdays at 11 on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. You're listening to Stillman and Company on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
What was your instant reaction when you heard Vrabel come out with that?
I think he had no choice, right? I mean, he's got a young player, and what have we talked about all the time on this show? Get some hope, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you saw the Raiders react to O'Connell. You know, that gave them hope. You saw the Raiders react to Hoyer. It didn't give them any hope. I think it's the same thing here. It gives them some hope. They played well for the kid. Look, they've got a lot of injuries. The right tackle's been hurt. The left tackle's not very good. The backup right tackle's been hurt, Hubbard. So they're kind of beat up front, but he's hung in there and made throws down the field.
There you go. That was Mike Lombardi on the Lombardi line on VEASAN, former NFL general manager, saying, like, Will Levis gives the Titans hope. And it's funny because 2 weeks ago, C.J. Stroud's team played Bryce Young's team, and Bryce Young's team beat C.J. Stroud's team, and Bryce Young played better than C.J. Stroud. Then C.J. Stroud throws for 500 yards and 5 touchdowns, and Bryce Young on Thursday Night Football last night doesn't look very good, and now the narrative is Stroud's the man and Bryce Young's a bust. I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. It's way too soon to be either anointing a guy the next great quarterback or labeling somebody else a bust. In all seriousness, C.J. Stroud's performance last week was great, but I think we have to remember who that came against and just how bad that Tampa Bay defense played, because C.J. Stroud missed throws last week. That's how bad it was. Which takes me to Levis. I know Carolina is going to screw up Bryce Young. Unless Bryce Young is so good that it doesn't matter, the same way Indianapolis doesn't matter, same way Cincinnati doesn't matter. Joe Burrow makes your mistakes not a big deal, and Joe Burrow makes you look like a genius for taking Jamar Chase in the first round instead of a lineman. That's just what Joe Burrow does. If Bryce Young is not that player, and I don't think that Bryce Young is Joe Burrow or Peyton Manning, but if Bryce Young's not that player, then Carolina is going to screw him up. They have nothing around him. They have no draft choices, and they have a bad coach. And what are they going to do? They're going to fire the bad coach. And, Ian, who is the owner going to hire? What kind of coach would you think the owner in Carolina is going to hire? A good coach or another bad coach?
Probably another bad one.
Okay. So they're going to screw him up. Houston? Right now, it looks like they've got a plan in place. Caserio knew he was going to draft a quarterback at some point, though they thought they were going to be able to take Stroud at 5. He knew he was going to draft a quarterback, so he went out and he spent money on the offense. Money at tackle, money at guard, money at the other tackle, money at the other guard, money at receiver, money at tight end. He spent money on offense. They've got the 49ers, next guy in Slowick as the coordinator. Now, Slowick's going to get a head coaching job. And I don't know with who or when. It may be next year. It may be the year after that. If Stroud really pops, then Slowick's getting a head coaching job. But my guess is Bobby Slowick's going to be a head coach next year in the NFL. So then they're going to have to replace him and get a good coach in for C.J. Stroud and all of that. But again, the Texans seem to have an idea of what they're doing, which takes us to Vrabel. I don't know if Mike Vrabel can develop a young quarterback. We're going to see. Mike Vrabel's never had the opportunity to develop a young quarterback. When he got here, Mariota was in year 4. They had brought in Matt LaFleur. Vrabel was a new coach, and then all of a sudden Mariota got injured, and Mariota got hurt again, and then Mariota struggled in the last year of his contract, and they benched him for Tannehill. And so Vrabel has had nothing but veteran quarterbacks. And I don't pin the fact that Malik Willis isn't very good. I don't pin that on Vrabel. I think the league knew that Malik Willis wasn't very good, which is why Malik Willis lasted until the 3rd round. So this is the first young quarterback that Mike Vrabel's really going to have, where you got to grow the kid from the ground up. And we have seen Vrabel already carry a cautious approach when it comes to Will Levis. He started him off as the 3rd-string quarterback. Then he worked him along slowly. Now he got injured at training camp. Then he made Malik the backup. I have to believe that they had seen enough to know that Levis was better than Willis when they had Malik as the backup. But probably what they didn't want was in the middle of a game with a game plan for Tannehill, Will Levis have to go out there and play. They probably wanted a game plan for Will Levis when it was time to put Will Levis in there. And even then, when it was time to put Will Levis in there, he wanted to kind of minimize the exposure by running that Fakakta 2 quarterback thing with Malik Willis. So he's taking a very cautious approach. They're moving the ball down the field before halftime against the Steelers, and then he takes a very cautious approach. So we are seeing how Vrabel's trying to grow the quarterback. This is not going to be a 1-week thing or a 6-week thing. This is probably going to be about a 3-year thing. But a lot of people during the draft process were texting into the show, and they were saying, hey, do you trust this coaching staff to be able to develop a quarterback? And I told you, if you don't trust your coaching staff, if you're the owner, and you don't trust your coaching staff to be able to develop a young quarterback, then you need to fire your coach. If you don't think that they can do it. I don't know if Vrabel and Tim Kelly can do it. If I had to bet, I'd say I'm a little skeptical. But we'll never know until he gets the opportunity. And so this is Vrabel's chance. Can you develop a young quarterback? Or do I need to go get the next tight pants, laminated play sheet, farms out the defensive side of the ball, always got a latte, can remember a play from the 3rd quarter of the 4th game 7 years ago? Do I need to get that guy? 615-737-1025. We'll hit some phones. 615-737-1025. Now that Will Levis is the starter, I am still incredibly worried about something that, well, We're all going to decide. We're going to see together. We'll do that next here on Stillman & Company. Fireball Hot Take Friday. Fireball Whiskey. You know Fireball Whiskey salutes its veterans. That's right. Fireball Whiskey would love to take this opportunity to let you know how much they are thankful for those that serve our country and that are currently serving our country. We know that everybody out there, as we celebrate Veterans Day, we know everybody out there knows somebody who has sacrificed a part of their life or their life for this country. And for that, you got to get a Fireball glass and toast up for every single person you know. That's right. Fireball Whiskey. It goes down so smooth and it tastes so great. Please ignite the night. Be 21 years or older to enjoy. That's Fireball Cinnamon Whiskey.
Predators fans, Brewhouse South in Cool Springs, Brewhouse 100 in Bellevue, and Brewhouse West on Charlotte Avenue are 102.5 The Game's official home for Predators watch parties. Catch all the games at Brewhouse and enjoy great specials on Blue Note Bourbon and Black Abbey Beer. We are your home for Smashville. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Green Day present the Saviors Tour. Live in Nashville.
Welcome to
Geodis Park, Friday, August 30th. Celebrating 30 years of Dookie and 20 years of American Idiot. Green Day with the Smashing Pumpkins, Rancid, and the Linda Lindas. Get tickets now at livenation.com. Green Day, the Saviors Tour, fueled by Monster Energy.
Your company's hiring. Who isn't? We would love to show you how to use 102.5 The Game to attract and retain employees. We can also help you find the exact person you're looking for with a targeted digital campaign. You can trust our team to help you build your team. Email us at together@cromwellmedia.com.
It's back. Family Leisure's Ultimate Game Room Sale is back.
Okay, so what's that mean?
That means huge discounts, up to 50% off on all kinds of game room furniture and accessories.
Like what?
Up to 50% off on slate pool tables from Brunswick and Legacy Billiards. Prices start as low as $14.99 installed, plus the matching bars and game tables. Even poker tables to complete our game room are on sale as well. The guaranteed largest selection and lowest prices in the Mid-South.
Wow, perfect for Christmas.
Family Leisure is also featuring huge savings on massage chairs and home theater seating. Full body massage chairs starting at only $9.99. And the top-of-the-line 40 massage chair is more than half off at $29.99.
What about the theater seating?
Family Leisure guarantees to be half off anyone's home theater seating. 3-piece recliner sets start at only $9.99. Full power recline real leather seats are only $19.99.
That's great! And they have stand-up and desktop arcade games with over 600 games, shuffleboards, foosball, and air hockey tables.
It really is the Ultimate Game Room Sale.
The Ultimate Game Room Sale going on now at both locations, Franklin and Antioch.
Hey, it's Jared from my friends at Hiller. It's getting colder quickly, and a lot of you are probably firing up the heater for the first time this season. If your system is older or having lots of issues keeping your home warm already, it's probably time for an HVAC replacement. There's no better time to replace your system than right now. Hiller is having their biggest sale ever on select HVAC systems. Get up to $2,600 off a new system until November 15th. This is the biggest discount they've had in years. That's Hiller. Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Jim Gaffigan here with some more straight talk. Now you can get a Walmart Plus membership, plus not pay for it, because it's included with Straight Talk wireless plans. You get free delivery with Walmart Plus a Paramount Plus subscription included. Plus, you pay less for gas. That's a lot of pluses.
Only Straight Talk gives you unlimited 5G data and Walmart Plus included on select plans for free.
Straight Talk Wireless, available at Walmart.
Requires service on Gold or Platinum Unlimited. One offer per eligible account. Paramount Plus Essential Plan only. Separate registration required. Additional terms apply.
Now, your Game Center update.
Brought to you by Gary Force Acura, proud sponsor of your Nashville Predators. The Tennessee Titans had their final practice of the week today before they head down to Tampa Bay to take on the Buccaneers. Guard Daniel Brunskill, wide receiver Traylon Burks, defensive back Sean Murphy-Bunting, and tackle Nicholas Petit-Ferrer are all out for the contest. Quarterback Ryan Tannehill and defensive back Anthony Kendall are listed as questionable. Titans versus Buccaneers will kick off at noon on Sunday. In some breaking college football news, the Big Ten is handing down their punishment to Michigan by prohibiting prohibiting head coach Jim Harbaugh from being on the sideline until the conclusion of the regular season, but Harbaugh will be allowed to coach during the week. The Nashville Predators dropped their final game of the road trip on Thursday night to Winnipeg 6-3. Reports are today that the team has placed forward Sam Fagemo on waivers. They return home tomorrow night when they host Arizona with puck drop set for 7 p.m. And the Vanderbilt men's basketball team gets back on the hardwood tonight when they host USC Upstate. Pregame starts at 5:30 with tip-off at 6 right here on 102.5, 106.3 The Game. From the Game Nashville studios, this is Ian Safar.
Live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. WPRT FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne. Broadcasting on Alexa.
I appreciate that.
And other smart speakers. 102.5 and 106.3.
And the score!
You can run different offenses.
The doors on the board. Off the field, on the field.
The Game.
A Cromwell media station.
Where you have a voice.
He had a competent coaching staff. You just play terrible and you keep playing.
And we have strong opinions.
What a whiny freaking crybaby response.
This is Stillman and Company with Jared Stillman on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game, streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios on a Fireball Hot Take Friday. You heard in Ian's update that Michigan is going to be without Coach Jim Harbaugh on the sidelines for the rest of the regular season. So all the work during the week, Harbaugh can run. Practice, Harbaugh's there. Film sessions, coaches meetings, Harbaugh. But then, come kickoff tomorrow, which, by the way, is our game of the week, tomorrow at 11 a.m. when they kick the ball off, no Harbaugh. Now, I will just say this. I am rooting for Penn State. I think Michigan's probably going to win, but I am rooting for Penn State. And I'll tell you why I'm rooting for Penn State, Ian. I'm on Sirius tomorrow right after the Penn State-Michigan game.
We need some drama.
Well, if Penn State wins, it'll be 4 hours because we're doing that until the Georgia game. It'll be 4 hours of loaded phone lines of people yelling and screaming, and I will get to really host a true post-game show, which I love doing.
If Michigan loses, there will be a lot of the sign-stealing situation, going down for sure.
You'll have two camps.
Yep.
You'll have the Big Ten screwed Harbaugh and screwed Michigan and screwed those players because, they didn't have their coach on the sidelines. And it wasn't like they told them on Monday that their coach wasn't going to be on the sidelines. They told them on Friday, like after they had already left Ann Arbor on the plane to go to Penn State, which is crazy to me. Normally if you're going to do this, you got to give them like 24-hour notice. I mean, I made reservations for a restaurant where you have to give them 24-hour notice that you're not going to be there or else they'll charge your credit card. And all of a sudden, Penn State, Michigan's getting ready to fly, 18 hours to kickoff, and the Big Ten's like, hey, we're suspending Harbaugh. He can't coach in the game. So now everybody's got to figure out responsibilities. It's like, okay, well, normally during the time that you're while the defense is out there, the offensive coordinator is sitting there with the quarterbacks, but now he may be the one that has to call timeout, or the defensive coach is normally making his adjustments, and then he's got to – I don't know. Again, if you're going to do something like this, you should probably tell somebody on Monday. You certainly should not tell them on Friday, but that's a different discussion. But here's the crazy thing to me. What does anybody get out of this? Like, what is the actual punishment here? I am totally fine with punishing Michigan. I heard Stephen A. Smith say the other day that he thought that Michigan should be banned from the college football playoff until the sign-stealing investigation is over. Now, you and I both know how long any type of investigation takes. It is very hard for me to believe that the college football playoff committee or the NCAA or the Big Ten or whoever's in charge of this, sign-stealing issue investigation, it's hard for me to believe that that would be over by the time we pick the teams, which I believe is less than a month from now for the 4 teams in the playoff. So if you do that, what Stephen A. Smith said, what you're doing is you're banning Michigan from the college football playoff. But I'm not completely against that idea. I certainly think at the end of the year, once they do finalize an investigation, Harbaugh's going to be fired. Like, this is a massive scandal. This is blatant cheating. It was incredibly brazen how they went about it. Every day there's a new wrinkle to this story that makes less sense than it did the day before. You got the guy with his refurbished shoddy vacuum cleaner business. I mean, his Michigan manifesto, his but how does this punishment address anything? Like, when the other Big Ten schools are going to Tony Petitti, the commissioner of the Big Ten, and they're saying, we need action, we need something taken care of, we need you to do something. When they're going to him and they're saying that, what they're saying is, we want you to ban Michigan from the playoff, or we want you to suspend Michigan, or we want you to force them to fire Harbaugh, or we want, this is what it really means. They want a competitive advantage over Michigan. It's like, for years they cheated and they got our signs and they cheated us, so now we want an advantage on them. And you need to act because you need to make it right. And I understand that line of thinking. I mean, I'm an Atlanta Braves fan. I don't think Greg Maddux and Tom Glavine were taking steroids when they were throwing 89 miles an hour. But when they lost to Barry Bonds in one division series and Sammy Sosa a year later, those guys were. So I understand. But that doesn't mean that you have to give in to it. That doesn't mean that you have to cower to the rest of the Big Ten. You're the commissioner. You're the one who is supposed to do whatever's in the best interest. Whatever's right for the Big Ten, that's what you're supposed to do. Then there's the idea of, how much does this really hurt Michigan? So Harbaugh gets to devise the game plan. Harbaugh gets to implement the game plan. Harbaugh gets to run practice. Harbaugh gets to give the team a speech the night before the game. Harbaugh gets to fly with the team to the city. Harbaugh gets to stay at the hotel. Harbaugh gets to give the team the pregame talk at the team breakfast 4 hours before they get on the bus to go to the game. But then Harbaugh's supposed to sit in his suite at the JW Marriott and watch Michigan play? And does a head coach coaching on the sidelines really make that much of a difference? It might make a difference in the Ohio State-Michigan game. I don't think it will make a difference in tomorrow's Michigan-Penn State game. Because Penn State never beats the big boys anyways. And quite frankly, I'm not even sure what James Franklin does during a football game other than go crazy. James Franklin lets his coaches coach. So I'm not even sure that the head coach is that important. But I am fascinated by what they're going to say. Basically, Michigan, or the Big Ten sent Michigan, like in their letter suspending Harbaugh, they sent the letter, and there was a line in there basically that said, we know you, we caught you cheating, and even though there is nothing right now that ties it to Harbaugh, we are suspending Harbaugh to punish the university because this is a university issue and not a Harbaugh issue, but we also reserve the right to punish you more. It's like, okay, but if you want to punish the school, then just take them out of the playoff. But you know they're not going to do that. You know they have a dream of all of these, of Michigan and Ohio State making the playoff again. And they don't want to do that. Now, look, as far as taking Michigan out of the playoff, I could be argued either way. I have no solid footing on, like no solid feeling, no conviction one way or another as to, yeah, Michigan cheated. And who knows if they got to the playoff the last 2 years because of the fruits of their cheating? Or we're really going to punish the kids for something that, you know, Connor Stallions did and that it was Jim Harbaugh's program that did, but those kids went to every 6 a.m. weightlifting session and they've been to every practice and I'm an independent voter when it comes to how Michigan should be punished. But I don't understand what it is that this punishment does. The only thing this punishment does is it allows for the Big Ten commissioner to say, I punished them. And that's it. 615-737-1025. We'll get to your phones on this next. Again, that's the story. Harbaugh suspended for the rest of the regular season, just the games, not practice, not meetings, not traveling, not events. All of that he can do. He just can't coach on the sideline. 615-737-1025 on a Fireball Hot Take Friday. It is Stillman and Company on 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
When you want all the
going in and the score. Blast the score. He risks one, they score.
And don't forget the
oh, what a stop. Sliding across to make the save. The backhander, nice stop.
When all you want is Smashville. We have you covered. Hear every Predators game right here. We are your home for Smashville. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Calling all sweet tooths. Head to Nashville Toffee Company, a place where rich, chocolatey daydreams are created from a secret family recipe generations in the making. Their toffees and candies are handcrafted in Nashville using all natural, kosher-certified ingredients. Sweet creamery butter, pure cane sugar, premium roasted nuts, deep rich chocolate, and sea salt. Visit NashvilleToffeeCompany.com or drop by their headquarters on Air Lane Drive for a positively hassle-free shopping experience. Whether you're buying for 1 or 100, Nashville Toffee Company is here to make your holiday gift giving easy.
Predators fans, Brewhouse South in Cool Springs, Brewhouse Highway 100 in Bellevue, and Brewhouse West on Charlotte Avenue is your home for hockey action all season long. They are Predators approved and all the games are on, and they'll even give you the sound. Get awesome game day drink specials on Blue Note Bourbon and Black Abbey Beer. When you think hockey, think Brewhouse South in Cool Springs, Brewhouse Highway 100 in Bellevue, or Brewhouse West on Charlotte Avenue. Go Preds!
It's the Electronic Express Black Friday Savings Marathon. Every Sunday means hot new deals. Get the gifts you want and save up to 50% throughout the entire store. Get the Samsung 75-inch 4K TV, only $649, plus other hot deals. At Electronic Express, dream big, pay small with up to 36 months free financing on items like a Samsung French door refrigerator, only $13.99, or an Acer laptop, now only $199. Shop the Black Friday Savings Marathon at Electronic Express. We make it happen.
Thinning hair is normal, but it doesn't have to be your fate.
Once I started taking Nutrafol, I could visibly see my hair get thicker. It made my hair stronger.
Nutrafol, the #1 dermatologist recommended hair growth supplement brand.
Nutrafol has taken me back to the hair I was meant to have.
You've got nothing to lose and everything to grow. Join the 1 million people growing at Nutrafol.com. That's Nutrafol.com.
When my daughter gets a cold, I have a secret weapon. DayQuil Kids Berry from Vicks. DayQuil Kids is specially formulated to treat kids' most bothersome cold and cough symptoms quickly. And the best part is that DayQuil Kids Berry tastes really great. Aren't you supposed to be resting? Maybe.
DayQuil Kids Berry. The kids' berry-licious daytime congestion, coughing, stuffy head, stuffy nose, just for kids. Medicine. Safe for kids 6 years plus.
Need cash for the holidays or want to be credit card debt free for the new year? Call Loan Pronto today. Their Express Equity line of credit could get you $20,000, $50,000, $100,000 in as little as 5 days. Willie Donick here. Listen up. You've got a ton of equity in your home, and Loan Pronto can help turn that equity into cash to put it to use. You can access up to 95% of your home's value. Use the money to pay off all your credit cards or pay off personal loans. Start the home improvement project you've been looking for. You can get the money you need now and still keep your primary mortgage intact, so your 3% rate is protected. Call right now, 615-499-5780. Get the holiday cash you need or pay off all those credit cards. 615-499-5780 or go online at loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781, subject to lender approval.
Stillman and Company always gets reaction, not only from listeners, but for advertisers. This is General Manager Sean Ford. 102.5 The Game listeners love supporting our advertisers. Let us show you how you can be a part of the program. Email me at together@cromwellmedia.com.
This is Stillman and Company on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Pete, what more can you tell us about the suspension?
Well, Hannah, I think there's a few things moving forward here. One is that the Big Ten's decision today was not one that it took lightly. They've just tweeted out some reasoning in the last few minutes, and I think this passage is important. Enforcing the sportsmanship policy with appropriate discipline this season, in light of the university's established violations this season, is thus of the utmost importance to protect the reputation of the conference and its member institutions. So basically, the Big Ten is saying there was enough evidence that they received from the NCAA that disrupted competition during this year amid Michigan's alleged illicit sign-stealing scheme that they felt the need to punish Michigan this season. So Jim Harbaugh will not be on the sideline for the next 3 games unless the second part of this comes, Hannah, and there is some sort of legal injunction in the next 20 hours before they kick off against Penn State on Saturday.
Ooh, that was Pete Thamel on ESPN. Again, on the latest, Harbaugh suspended from coaching the games. Still coach practice. Can still talk to the team, can still travel with the team, can still coach the team, can still run the coaches' meetings, but is suspended from the games for the rest of the regular season. And by the way, let me say this. I mean, I think it's a stupid punishment. I think it's kind of embarrassing that the Big Ten was like, hey, we had to do something, so here's what we did. No, you did something because the schools wanted an advantage on Michigan. That's why you did something. You had to do something to, placate the mob. But that, again, I am so, because words like indifferent or nonchalant or non-opinionate, I'm trying to think of the right way to describe how I feel about this. I think Harbaugh did it, or I think Michigan did it. I think in a roundabout way, Harbaugh knew about it, and I think Harbaugh is going to be fired at the end of the year. But outside of that, everything else, I'm open. It's almost like my opinion is for sale. If you make the better argument for Harbaugh and Michigan to be suspended, and this is a good punishment, and I hear you out over here, and I'm like, okay, that argument makes sense. And if you make it over here that you're against it, and I think that the evidence or the argument is better on this side, then I'll go with whichever side makes the most sense to me. And I guess impartial would be what I would say I am. Joe Rexrode has penned a massive column in The Athletic. Now, never mind the fact that nobody ever writes about the Predators anymore for The Athletic. And, that is a team Joe covers. Joe has a big column in The Athletic. Quote, "This was not the time nor the way to punish Harbaugh for a sign-stealing scandal that has been such a dominant story. Some of the plot holes have gone unnoticed." Joe continues on. "Harbaugh should be coaching this team Saturday at Penn State and beyond until a credible and thorough investigation is completed." Credible and thorough may not be the first 2 words that come to mind when you think of NCAA investigations, but it is the best we've got. All due credit to the next video snippet of exiled Michigan analyst / purported super spy Connor Stallions that comes from a sleuth on an Ohio State or Michigan State message board. That is pretty funny. Joe ends it by saying the coaches may deserve whatever complications they encounter, but the players are not culpable for this. All players on all teams know their coaches are trying to decipher signals and hide their own, and all they can do is take the calls they're given to make the plays. If Michigan's calls were stallionized earlier in the season against weak competition that had no chance against Michigan anyway, they sure aren't now. And if Michigan wins it all after all of this, there is no asterisk required unless it's for extra credit. This will be a heck of a 30 for 30 someday. This will follow Harbaugh, but unless someone like Ohio State hangs a scarlet L on him, wow, Joe's going in the bag there, Ian. Unless someone like Ohio State hangs a scarlet L on him, this should cost his 2023 team nothing more. I mean, it's a valid argument. The one thing that I get mad about when it comes to punishments in college is punishing the players. when it's like, well, 6 years ago, those players got haircuts for free and they weren't allowed to, so you're banned from the NCAA football or basketball tournament. It's like, well, that's not his fault. And that always drives me crazy. Like when Bruce Pearl gets caught cheating, it's not like Bruce Pearl has to pay the money back. Nope, Bruce Pearl got caught cheating, but Bruce Pearl gets all his money, but the players on Bruce Pearl's team get screwed. And I've never liked that. So, again, I can be on any side of this. I mean, I still think that Michigan did it. I don't think it's an accident that in 2020 there were no fans in the stands because of COVID, and Michigan was horrible. They were 4-8, and then all of a sudden they hire Connor Stallions, and Michigan makes it to 2 straight college football playoffs, and Michigan goes out there and blows out Ohio State twice. And it's fine the first time, right? Bad weather at Michigan. Michigan was due, everything on the line. The matchup was Aiden Hutchinson versus PT. And Aiden Hutchinson absolutely crushed PT, which now that we know more about PT, that probably shouldn't surprise us, right, Ian?
I'm sorry?
Now that we know more about PT, him getting just demolished by Aiden Hutchinson probably shouldn't.
Probably not.
But imagine this. Imagine if Aiden Hutchinson knew the play and he's going against PT.
That's the whole thing about all these games and how much does you know the plays, and it just really taints a lot of those games.
Well, I just, again.
It feels like, going
you're
back.
You're terrible with no fans in the stands. You're 4-8 or 2-6 or whatever it is. You hire this guy. You don't lose again until you play Georgia. Then you beat Ohio State again. Then I see C.J. Stroud play Georgia, and C.J. Stroud lights him up. You smoke Ohio State in the big house. In the horseshoe. You smoke them in the horseshoe. And now I see what C.J. Stroud's doing in the NFL, and I'm supposed to believe that the Michigan defense that gave up all those points to TCU, I'm supposed to believe that the Michigan defense all of a sudden just that this is a coincidence? And I have a hard time with that. And again, imagine if we already know if Aiden Hutchinson and Nicholas Petit-Frere are going up against one another. We already know that Nicholas Petit-Frere is probably going to lose. But if Aiden Hutchinson knows the play, then what? So again, I can be convinced of either side. One texter into the text line says, I am not the sharpest tool in the shed, but I agree with you, Jared, that this is not a punishment for Harbaugh in Michigan. I mean, it's a punishment, but is it a big punishment? Like, does it actually do anything? Like, how much does the head coach do during the game? And I think it varies from team to team. Like, I think some head coaches are incredibly in tune with what's going on. And I think some head coaches, run the game a certain way and that their gut feel is how they do. And then other head coaches are just, you're the offense, you're the defense, and they just stand on the sideline. Kind of like Mike Munchak when he was the coach of the Titans. They used to flash to Mike Munchak on the sideline, and he'd just be looking up and he'd be squinting his eyes like, okay, we're down 17-3 now. And it's like, I don't think he's doing – Brady Hoke used to coach Michigan and not even wear a headset. So I don't even know, how much is here or there or whatever. But I would agree. A texter says Georgia is cheating too. They're just doing it better. Well, give me some proof, and then we'll have something. All right, I've got a promise I need everybody to make about Will Levis's start on Sunday. We'll do that. Then Chad Withrow will join us from Outkick a little bit early because we're out at 5:30 for Vandy. So we'll do that. We'll have Chad this hour, and then we'll finish it up with six-pack picks. We'll do that next. Fireball whiskey goes down so smooth and it tastes so great. There is no better way to honor our veterans and to celebrate Veterans Day than to pour out a Fireball shot and toast it to all of those that have absolutely dedicated themselves to their country. That's right. Fireball whiskey goes down so smooth and it tastes so great. Ignite the night, and please be 21 years or older to enjoy. That's Fireball Cinnamon Whiskey.
Every day we are live and local.
It will help them get better players. I'm really excited about this defensive front.
And your source for Nashville sports.
They had missed the playoffs.
Those players may end up being practice squad guys.
We are Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
When the festive bells ring and everyone gathers round, make sure your home's ready for it. From flickering lights to chilly nights to busted pipes, Lee Company is here to help. Heating, air conditioning, plumbing, electrical, or any fix-up you need, we've got the experts ready. Head over to leecompany.com. That's leecompany.com. Remember, Lee Company, all you need, so you can enjoy the holidays worry-free.
When Genesis Diamonds has a sale, you know it's the real deal. And it's happening November 17th through 19th. Our final store-wide sale of the year with deep discounts up to 35% off. This is the big one. The one where they break all the rules. Plus, Genesis selection is nearly double. With designers flying in their entire collections. All on sale. This is the last and best jewelry buying opportunity of the year. Luxury pre-owned Rolexes included. Lab-grown diamonds on sale too. Save up to 35% and get zero interest financing. November 17th through 19th at Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills, and Cool Springs.
Hey, are you seeking relief? Maybe you just want to enhance your day or night. Did you know there are legal THC products available right here in Tennessee? Yeah, really. You can have legal THC products shipped directly to the comfort of your home. Yes, comfort in cannabis is only a website away. Visit greentreescompany.com. That's Green Trees with a Z, and change your life today.
West Coast Taco Shop features some of the best California-style Mexican food. And this week, you can try it for half off with Nashville's best deal of the week. Their burritos, nachos, quesadillas, and a variety of tacos are delicious. And once you try this authentic cuisine, you'll become a regular. They also have a salsa bar. And ask about their free live music nights. West Coast Taco Shop, Murfreesboro Pike in Nashville. Get half off now at theGameNashville.com/deals.
In business, everything your employees do impacts your brand, including what they wear. Cintas has high-performance workplace apparel for almost every job imaginable. From work shirts and pants, to polos and khakis, to Oxfords or T-shirts, these clothes move, breathe, and look great. Your team gets the styles they like, you convey the image you want. And Cintas service includes weekly laundry and delivery. To learn more, visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
Green right, Fox 2 run, double K.
He takes you inside the huddle through the eyes of a quarterback.
Wide 85, thanks.
Catch ESPN NFL analyst Tim Hasselbeck every Tuesday at noon as he breaks down the big stories in the NFL.
Buffalo, maybe Miami.
And with the Tennessee Titans.
The Titans might be like, we're interested in a one-year, $1 million contract.
Tim Hasselbeck is on Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, this is Jordan Rogers, and you're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 The Game.
It's interesting, they obviously had it defensively, not their best couple weeks, the last couple weeks. So, I mean, they're going to play their stuff. They're going to do what they do. We're going to prepare to see what we think we will. But you question if, that changes things for them, if they want to change up their scheme or show some things that they haven't shown yet, just to switch things up to try to get a little more success. But we're thinking about those things, not too much. We're really just focusing on our jobs and executing.
Will Levis talking about Tampa and the Tampa defense. Boy, I remember when that Tampa defense was a Super Bowl caliber defense. And a reminder, we will have the pregame show. That will be at 9:30 on Sunday. We'll be live from 9:30 to 11:30 for the award-winning pregame show at Twin Peaks in Madison. Me, Chris, and Derek. And that is presented by The Beast Unleashed and by Parman Tractor and Equipment. So one thing that I want everybody to not do, I want you to promise me right now. I need you to promise me. I want you to put your hand up right now. You're driving in the car. Most people drive with one hand, though you are supposed to have your hands on the wheel at 10 and 2. But I want you to promise me, put a hand up if you can and say, I promise that I will not get worked up about Will Levis's performance on Sunday in comparison to C.J. Stroud's performance on Sunday against the Buccaneers last week. Because it's easy to say that right now. It's going to be hard if Levis doesn't have a good game, to not sit there and say, well, but C.J. Stroud played the same team, and when C.J. Stroud played that team, C.J. Stroud lit them up, and there's a lot of different factors at play here. The first and the most important one is C.J. Stroud had a bad game the week before against Carolina. Carolina's won one game this year, and it was because C.J. Stroud didn't play very well, and Bryce Young beat him. And so they have a bad game. Then they're at home against Tampa. Now, Tampa's defense stinks, 29th in the NFL. That is horrendous, which is, again, shocking because I remember when the Buccaneers used to win the Super Bowl, and they're 31st against the pass. But the other reason why is the Tampa Bay defense. My guess is they walked off that field, and that defense was so bad the other night. Like, it was so bad last Sunday watching that game that I told you, like, 33% Stroud's good. 33% Bobby Slowick, the offensive coordinator, absolutely worked over that Tampa defense. And 33% of it is that Tampa defense was terrible. How you allow somebody to run a 7 route right on the sideline with no timeouts at the end of the game the way they did is just inexcusable. So they have had to go through all week of watching the tape and being in the meetings and being yelled at by the coaches and being embarrassed. And every time SportsCenter or Get Up or First Take, and trust me, all these facilities have TVs everywhere. They've got them in the weight rooms. They've got them in the meeting rooms. They've got them all over the place. They're tuned to ESPN or NFL Network constantly, which means that they're constantly seeing the reminders of what C.J. Stroud did to them last week. Stephen A. Smith, should C.J. Stroud be the MVP of the league? Like, those are the kind of things that are going on. They're going to play better at home on Sunday. And let's not forget that they've lost 4 in a row. Like, they've lost 4 in a row. And so when you lose 4 in a row, you look at yourself in the mirror and you say, okay, my season is going down the drain. If I don't win this game, then what? And Tampa Bay plays in a horrible division. Atlanta sucks. New Orleans sucks. Carolina absolutely sucks. They all suck, and they know it. So they're sitting there looking at this saying, okay, the thing we've got to do here is we've got to bow up, and we got to win a game at home. And it's not like we're playing Kansas City this week. We're playing Tennessee. So I expect the Tampa Bay defense to play a little bit better. And, again, they gave up 39 last week. Their highest before that was 25 to Philadelphia. They're not that bad. So I want everybody to promise me. I want you to put your hand up right now and say, I promise you, Jared, that if Will Levis goes out there and throws for 213 and 1 touchdown and 1 pick, and it's a close game, which of course it will be because that's how the Titans play when they're on the road, is they can't score in the red zone and they're always close. I promise you that I will not call into this show on Monday yelling and screaming about how C.J. Stroud did so well against the same defense. I want you to promise me that. You won't go to work. You won't go to the water cooler. You won't sit there and say, oh, well, C.J. Stroud did so well against these guys. And the other part of this is your defense. That's the other part of this. Your defense needs to show up. Your defense needs to stop sucking. Their defense was embarrassed after what happened. Your defense should be embarrassed about what happened last week. So we will see if that takes hold. Special timing coming up next. Chad Withrow going to join us 15 minutes earlier because Vandy basketball is going to knock us off at 5:30. So we'll talk to Chad as we always do for 2 segments. We'll do that next. Stillman & Company, Fireball Hot Take Friday, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Vanderbilt football lives here.
This Saturday, it's Vanderbilt in South Carolina from Williams-Brice Stadium in Columbia. Kickoff at 11 a.m. Our coverage starts at 9:30.
Your home for the Commodores is 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Go big or go home. Unless you're part of Smashville. Because here, going big means you are home. Big hits. Big names. Big history. Big energy. Welcome to Smashville. Preds fans, join us as we take on the Arizona Coyotes this Saturday, November 11th at Bridgestone Arena. Secure your tickets today at NashvillePredators.com.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, you're in the red zone for every college rivalry and divisional matchup all season long. I mean, where else are the scenic views as good as your view of the game? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Regular season hoops are heating up. The NBA's inaugural in-season tournament is tipping with group play across the country. Catch the action Tuesdays and Fridays all month long at the #1 sports bar.
This year, Boys and Girls Club of Middle Tennessee celebrates its 120th anniversary. Through time, BGCMT continues to evolve to enable all young people, especially those who need us most, to reach their full potential as productive, caring, and responsible leaders. Because of your continued support, BGCMT has remained strong and is committed to supporting our youth and solidifying our mission and culture in new exciting ways for 120 years. Visit bgcmt.org today.
Family Leisure's Ultimate Game Room Sale is back.
Huge discounts up to 50% off on all kinds of game room furniture and accessories.
Slate pool tables from Brunswick and Legacy pool tables. Prices starting as low as $14.99 installed.
Perfect for Christmas.
Family Leisure has huge savings on massage chairs. Full body massage chairs starting at only $9.99. 4D massage chair more than half off at $29.99.
Family Leisure guarantees to beat anyone's advertised home theater seating prices. Shuffleboards, foosball, and air hockey tables on sale as well.
That's Family Leisure at both locations, Franklin and Antioch.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Wendy's new breakfast 2 for $3 Biggie Bundles let you create your own delicious combo. Choose from a sausage biscuit, egg and cheese biscuit, small seasoned potatoes, and a medium hot coffee. But it's obvious which combo's the best. Sausage biscuit and small seasoned potatoes. Well, maybe it's the fresh cracked egg and cheese biscuit with a medium hot coffee. Or 2 savory sausage biscuits. Whichever you pick, you can't go wrong. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's new 2 for $3 Biggie Bundles.
Limited time only. U.S. price and participation may vary. Not valid in a combo. Single item at regular price.
Keeping it local.
The Titans get a big win. Well, Derrick Henry's on the field. It's like, all right, what's going to happen?
And fun.
Bad time to get Florida. They're going to be mad. Oh, my goodness.
Every day, it's Chase McCabe.
I was sitting here going, I think I'm going to watch Batman 1989 tonight.
And Big Joe Dubin.
That's your plan for tonight? Probably, yeah. I need a night.
The Chase and Big Joe Show, brought to you by Regal Realty Group. Weekdays at 9 on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. Strong opinions and a strong personality on your drive home. This is Stillman and Company on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game, streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios on a Fireball Hot Take Friday, which means Chad Withrow from Outkick joining us on the program as he always does. Chad, Will Levis, round 3 tomorrow against Tampa Bay. What are you expecting? What do you hope? What do you think? I said tomorrow, I mean Sunday. Your thoughts?
Yeah, more of the same, right? I mean, he was great in his first outing, a little less than great against Pittsburgh, but we expected that. He was still better, I thought, against Pittsburgh than I was expecting going into that game, even though the Titans came up short. I think, what do I hope for with this team? We got the answer we wanted out of Mike Vrabel this week. I think every Titans fan, they wanted to see the continued development of Will Levis. So him naming him the starting quarterback was what made sense, and I'm glad he did that. What I want to see more than anything out of this game is Will Levis standing and his ability to physically continue going on and not to have some injury happen. That's what I want, because it's evaluation time now. This is not a team that I see making a run for the playoffs. So this is all about figuring out what you have in Will Levis, because I've said it before, I'll say it again. But if you feel like you truly have finally drafted your franchise quarterback and he's on this roster, that frees up so much potential for what you can do with the rest of this roster with all the cap space the Titans are going to have going into this offseason. So I just want to see continued development. I'm not expecting greatness from Will Levis. I want to continue to see flashes from him that he can get the job done. I don't want a complete regression from what we saw in that first week's performance against the Falcons. I just want to see him upright, playing, so we can continue to get more of an evaluation of what he is moving forward so the Titans will know one way or the other. I don't want any half measures this offseason. I want everyone to know and the Titans to know, hey, this is the guy or he's not the guy, and we've got to make contingency plans moving forward. But the answer that everyone should want to have by the end of the year, if you want the Titans to do well, is that he is the guy, because it helps them out in so many areas. If you've now suddenly got a second-round draft pick on a rookie contract as your starting quarterback, you can do a lot of different things to your roster if that's the case.
How much do you factor in what C.J. Stroud did against the same defense last week?
It's certainly a factor. I think C.J. Stroud may have a little bit better of a situation around him than what the Titans have right now. But, I mean, I don't know. You said this before in the way you phrase questions, Jared. I don't know that at the end of this year we're going to know definitively on these quarterbacks, right? I mean, it's just about getting evidence, and it's week by week. A couple weeks ago, Bryce Young outdueled C.J. Stroud head-to-head in one game. But then C.J. Stroud breaks the rookie record for passing yards against Tampa Bay. So, I mean, it factors in, but the Texans know they have their franchise quarterback in C.J. Stroud. I don't think there's any doubting that, where they drafted him, what he's done this year. So that's their question to answer, and they've answered it. They know their plan now moving forward with D'Amico Ryans as head coach, C.J. Stroud as their franchise quarterback. I'm less concerned about Will Levis competing with C.J. Stroud from one week to the next against the same defense, and more concerned with finding out whether or not he is the quarterback for the Titans.
What do you think of the fact that the Titans have this terrible offensive line that's going to be in front of Will Levis on Sunday? And we've talked about perhaps ruining him in the past, and it does not feel like this line is going to be an adequate NFL offensive line.
I mean, one of the biggest failures of the Titans has been offensive line. From trying to replace Taylor Lewan to everything they've done at that position. Skoronski may end up being a great, 12-year NFL pro. I don't know. But outside of that, it's tough to like anything they've done with that offensive line. So that's definitely a weak point for the Titans. Again, the game plan has to be such where you're getting the ball out of his hands as quick as possible, and you're doing some things to help protect him. But that's a factor for the evaluation of Will Levis, and we're going to look at the offensive line. I think about that Cleveland Browns game. Did anybody blame Ryan Tannehill coming out of that game?
No.
Or did they say the offensive line is terrible and Myles Garrett completely owned the entire offensive line? That's what people were saying. So that's going to be a part of the evaluation of Levis. My thing is, I'm not concerned about a quarterback. I don't want to wrap someone up in bubble wrap and try to protect them that way. And I'm not concerned about, if you got the right quarterback, their psyche's going to be okay, getting hit a few times and making a few mistakes or whatever it is. I just want him practically to not get injured so we can continue to watch him play. That's my biggest, fear of all of this, is that he took a bunch of hits against Pittsburgh. If that continues to happen, he's going to get banged up. And even if it's not some catastrophic injury, and I'm not expecting that, but if it's something that just keeps him out of the lineup, that's what really hurts you, because it's valuable lost time of chances to evaluate Will Levis on whether or not he's the franchise guy.
Chad Withrow's with us from Outkick. I had a former general manager tell me that ideally the Titans would know what they have in Levis after a full season of games. But he said that we'll probably know at the end of this year, if either Levis is a guy or if they screwed up. At the same time, I cannot stop but think about Vince Young and Mariota and the fact that, Vince Young you remember Vince Young. He was the hottest thing in town. He was the hottest thing in the league after his rookie year. And so I think it's going to be longer than a year before we know. But what do you make of a former GM saying that we should know at the end of the year if they've got a guy or if they screwed up?
I think they know their plan after this year, right? I'm not saying definitively that you can just, wave a magic wand or look into a crystal ball and say Will Levis is a Pro Football Hall of Famer after this set of games behind this offensive line, or that you could just definitively say, we got to cut Will Levis and move on. The guy shouldn't even be on the roster because he looks bad in these remaining games. But the point is, and I think this is what your NFL GM friend is getting at, is this is enough games and enough of a body of work for the Titans to definitively have an offseason plan at quarterback. Right? Now, that offseason plan may include a veteran guy that comes in as a plug-and-play option because you don't love where Will Levis is. Things are trending, though, right now where you're going to get enough of a body of work where you can go into the offseason thinking the plan is that Will Levis is the starter. Don't need to bring in any contingency plans. You'll have a backup quarterback, whoever that may be, but Will Levis is the starter. We feel good about that. That's the Titans talking. And then now we can go address all of these other needs at offensive line, at wide receiver, at other spots that you're going to need to address this offseason. It also helps when you know, hey, this is the plan. We've got a young quarterback developing. Let's address some needs to help him in the draft. And that's what I want to see more than anything in this draft is a concerted effort. If, in fact, you have decided that Will Levis is the quarterback moving forward, I want to see a concerted effort to draft guys that are going to directly impact the quarterback and help him out on game days. So, again, we're not going to know definitively, just like we did. Two good examples with Vince Young and Marcus Mariota that you brought up. We're not going to know definitively what their career is going to look like, but we are going to have enough games, as long as he stays healthy, to decide what the plan is this offseason for the Titans. And if that plan is Will Levis is the starting quarterback, that's a win for this team because of what they're able to do with some flexibility around him.
TD was on the show yesterday, and he was asked about Vrabel and Ran Carthon, and he said that it is a legitimate collaboration between the two. It is not a blaming this guy for Andre Diller. He wanted him. He wanted that guy. That in spite of, what we've heard out of guys like Charles Robinson and Fitz and things like that, that there is no tension inside the building. Do you believe that?
I believe that right now, but I believe that tension will naturally arise if there's not a pecking order and there's not a hierarchy and there's not a chain of command, because that's all fine and dandy because the Titans are still in a honeymoon phase where they can just blame all of their problems on John Robinson. I don't buy that all their problems are because of John Robinson, but they can still do that right now. So they're in a good spot, and I'm talking about Ran Carthon and Mike Vrabel with their relationship, where they could just easily say, hey, we're trying to correct the mistakes of the previous guy. And Mike Vrabel said, I disagree with that guy. You've been good to work with so far. We mostly agree on guys. So now let's agree with each other on how to move forward as an organization and start to rebuild. That's fine and dandy. But if next year is like this year again and it continues to look bad, then you're going to see guys turn on each other. And suddenly, look, pressure reveals a lot of things. And the moment that either Mike Vrabel or Ran Carthon feels like they're getting pressure, whether it be from media, fans, or from above with Amy Adams Strunk, they're going to reveal their true colors, then they're going to enter survival mode. And when survival mode kicks in, what happens? There's finger pointing, and then suddenly there is going to be that back and forth of, oh, you wanted Andre Diller, not me. Oh, you wanted this and not that. There's going to be the blame game happening one way or the other. And that's what you get when it's not clearly someone in charge. And even with what you're telling me TD said, I'm not hearing about anyone clearly in charge. When you tell me it's a true collaboration, okay, well, that's two men collaborating on a decision. So if they completely disagree on something and you got to go one way or the other, who is making that decision? That is the boss. That is the person doing that, right? Now, if you're telling me it's something different every time, and that if they completely disagree, they go 50-50 and take one side or the other each time, maybe it is a true collaboration, but I just simply don't buy that. Someone is in charge.
So I actually do.
Decisions ultimately.
I do think it is a collaboration, and I think the drafting of Will Levis is an example of this because I'm convinced, and I don't have any sourcing on this or anything, I just think it's common sense, that if Vrabel, if the guy in charge, Vrabel or Carthon, whoever was in charge, if they liked Will Levis and thought he is a franchise quarterback, they would have used the 11th overall pick in the draft on him instead of a guard. Regardless of if you thought Skoronski was a better player than Levis, to me it's kind of binary. Do you have a quarterback, yes or no? No. Do you think he's a franchise quarterback or could be? Yes or no? Yes. Okay, you take him. And the only way that I can rationalize that they took Levis was that they sat there, with their board in front of them, and they decided that, not one guy's going to have the power. We have the board. And that the board said Skoronski is better than Levis, so they took Skoronski, and then, they were coerced, or they decided, whichever report you believe, that they were going to take Levis in the second round because, we have him ranked as the 19th best player and we have Peter ranked as the 7th best player. And so that's why we took Peter first and let every team in the league get a crack at Levis, because there's no other explanation that would make any sense as to how that all went down.
If Mike Vrabel and Rand Carthon disagree totally on anything, they hit a crossroads where they did not agree on a pick or a free agent or whatever it may be. And they went to Amy Adams Strunk and said, here's the argument from each side. Decide for us what you want to do. Who is she siding with?
Probably Vrabel.
Then Mike Vrabel's in charge.
I would guess, but I don't know that. You know what I mean?
Again, I don't think Mike Vrabel's walking into the offices and, flipping tables over and throwing pitchers of water up against the wall and saying, I demand this and I demand that. I do buy that they are collaborating and that it is a collaboration, and they work together and they talk through these things, and they're trying to think in the same mind of what the team needs and what the culture of the Titans will be moving forward. I completely buy all of that. I don't think anything nefarious is going on here. But if push comes to shove, and it will at some point, there's going to have to be a decision made on who's in charge and who gets final say. And I believe that person is Mike Vrabel and not Rand Carthon. So Mike Vrabel's in charge. It's going great right now because they can blame everything on John Robinson. And I think they do see things similarly. So that part of it is working out. I don't think there's problems with it right now, but I just don't buy a true collaboration, especially in this situation where it should be one person in charge of personnel and another person in charge of the team coaching them. But I don't think that's the case. If Vrabel's collaborating with everything on picks and free agents, everything else, I just think Vrabel is the ultimate tiebreaker, so he's in charge.
More with Chad Withrow from Outkick coming up. Stillman and Company, Fireball Hot Take Friday, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
He breaks down every game.
The players are still going to be fine.
And knows the ins and outs of the two-tone blue.
They deal with their own position coaches.
He is ESPN NFL Nation Titans reporter Teron Davenport.
It's clear what he's doing.
TD joins every Monday at 1, Thursdays at 3, Friday mornings at 8, and anytime on the Talkin' with TD podcast.
I think that's really cool how he could show both sides.
TD is on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Time for the Preds Report.
Presented by Newton Nissan.
Max Hers here with your Friday Preds Report. The Preds finished up their 5-game road trip last night with a 6-3 loss in Winnipeg against the Jets. Philip Forsberg scored each of the first 2 Predator goals. Forsberg ahead. Enters on the left. Rister scores! Philip Forsberg scores his second of the night. This one's 4-on-4. And it cuts the Preds deficit to 4-2 with 7:55 left in the second. Predators never led in the game. Kyle Connor had 3 goals and an assist for a Jet hat trick. Preds lost 6-3. Finally back home tomorrow night to start a 5-game homestand. See you for a Saturday night in Smashville at 7 against the Coyotes.
All the best car deals in Smashville start at Newton Nissan. Visit them at Newton Nissan of Gallatin or Newton Nissan South in Shelbyville.
This is Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game.
This year, celebrate with your loved ones at Kitchen Notes inside the Omni Nashville Hotel. Enjoy Southern farm to table dishes with an elegant touch that is only available from the Omni Nashville Hotel. Start with citrus poached shrimp and cocktail crab claws, then move quickly to the main menu featuring herb roast turkey and smoked prime rib. Plus, indulge in a variety of sides and breakfast items. Enjoy Thanksgiving with your friends and family at Kitchen Notes inside the Omni Nashville Hotel from 10 a.m. till 3 p.m. Make your reservation now at opentable.com.
Blue Raider fans, your home for all the MTSU football and men's basketball action is on 93.3 Classic Hits and 95.1 Classic Hits in the borough. Catch the action all season long with Chip Walters on the call. Go Blue Raiders!
Kohl's is making early holiday shopping so easy, and I need to talk about it. I just went and saved $10 off because I spent over $50. Then I saved even more cash while crossing gifts off my list, like JBL headphones at $24.99, Barbie dolls at 25% off, and got women's PJs for under $25 with a 20% coupon. Plus, I earned Kohl's cash. So hurry to Kohl's and thank me later. Select styles, JBL and Barbie coupons do not apply. $10 off, $25 offer valid November 11th, 20% offer valid November 18th. Some exclusions apply. See StoreKohl's.com for details.
At the Home Depot, Saturdays are about two things: getting ready for company with the Samsung Family Hub Plus refrigerator and football. That's right, Kirk Herbstreit. Search for recipes, check out scores, or even stream the game to the screen at the same time, so you never miss a second of the action, which means you can make your famous buffalo chicken dip and have more time for football. Upgrade your Saturday with Samsung and the Home Depot. How doers get more done.
Wendy's new breakfast 2 for $3 Biggie Bundles let you create your own delicious combo. Choose from a sausage biscuit, egg and cheese biscuit, small seasoned potatoes, and a medium hot coffee. But it's obvious which combo's the best: sausage biscuit and small seasoned potatoes. Well, maybe it's the fresh cracked egg and cheese biscuit with a medium hot coffee. Or 2 savory sausage biscuits. Whichever you pick, you can't go wrong. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's new 2 for $3 Biggie Bundles.
Limited time only. U.S. price and participation may vary. Not valid in a combo. Single item at regular price.
SEC basketball lives right here in Nashville, and you don't want to miss out as the Vanderbilt Commodores tip off the season. With a variety of budget-friendly ticket options, you can be there for all of the Memorial magic. Led by SEC Coach of the Year Jerry Stackhouse, the men's team hosts home games against Tennessee, Kentucky, Alabama, and a whole lot more. And Coach Shea Ralph and the women's squad will take the court against the likes of LSU, Tennessee, and Ole Miss. For tickets or more information, go to VUCommodores.com or call 877-44-VANDY.
Your Game Center update.
This Game Center update is delivered by Black Tie Moving. The Tennessee Titans had their final practice of the week today before they head down to Tampa Bay to take on the Buccaneers. Guard Daniel Brunskill, wide receiver Traylon Burks, defensive back Sean Murphy-Bunting, and tackle Nicholas Petit-Ferrer are all out for the contest. Quarterback Ryan Tannehill and defensive back Anthony Kendall are listed as questionable. Titans versus Buccaneers will kick off at noon on Sunday. In some breaking college football news, the Big Ten is handing down their punishment to Michigan by prohibiting head coach Jim Harbaugh from being on the sideline until the conclusion of the regular season, but Harbaugh will be allowed to coach during the week. The Nashville Predators dropped their final game of the road trip on Thursday night to Winnipeg 6-3. Reports are today that the team has placed forward Sam Fagemo on waivers. They return home tomorrow night when they host Arizona with puck drop set for 7 p.m. And the Vanderbilt men's basketball team gets back on the hardwood tonight when they host USC Upstate. Pre-game starts at 5:30 with tip-off at 6 right here on 102.5, 106.3 The Game. This Game Center update delivered by Black Tie Moving. Use the promo code GAME to score 10% off your next move. From the Game Nashville studios, this is Ian Safar.
Live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. WPRT FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne. Nashville's exclusive home for the Nashville Predators. 102.5 and 106.3.
79-52 Vanderbilt.
And I think he's got a coach
shot by Cheryl.
You're going to see more moves. The Game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Where you have a voice.
He had a competent coaching staff.
You just play terrible and you keep playing. And we have strong opinions.
What a whiny freaking crybaby response.
This is Stillman and Company with Jared Stillman on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman & Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game, streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios on a Fireball Hot Take Friday, which means Chad Withrow from Outkick joining us on the program as he always does. Chad, let's get right to the hot seat, unless you have one quick thought you want to start with, or do you want to get right to the questions?
My one quick thought is that I love the hot seat, so let's get right to the hot seat.
Okay, number one. Is Eli Drinkwitz, the Missouri head coach, going up against Tennessee tomorrow, is he a good coach or is he a total stooge?
Man, if you would have asked me this question going into this season, I would have said that he's not a very good coach. This team is good. Like, they have surprised me at every turn. I remember thinking they were going to lose to Memphis earlier this year. They surprised me by beating K-State at home, albeit on a 61-yard field goal in the last second to win that game. So they have been surprising to me this year. I kind of thought that this may be sort of it for Eli Drinkwitz coming in this year. So this team is pretty good. I don't think they're great. I think some of what they've done is a little bit deceiving. You know, look at the truly great offenses they face. They gave up, I think, 49 to LSU and lost by 10 at home. I think they play well against Georgia, right? I mean, they did a year ago.
Sure.
They played better than anyone else in the country against the Bulldogs. They played well against Georgia this year down in Athens. But I think he's a good offensive mind. I think he's a creative play caller. I don't think he's a very good head coach, no. And I think anyone who's been there as long as he has and yet to have a winning season until this year, I'm not going to go out and say he's a good head coach. But I do think they've done a good job with this team. I think they're good. I think Brady Cook is one of the better quarterbacks in the SEC. I also see a program that's given up 62 and 66 points to Josh Heupel in Tennessee the last 2 years. So are they going to reverse that trend? That's a pretty big reversal from what we've seen with Missouri versus Tennessee since Heupel took over.
I vote Stooge, but I am impressed with the football team. 2, is there any massive difference on the outlook of the Tennessee football program with a 9-3 season as compared to an 8-4 season, and we are operating under the assumption that they will lose to Georgia?
So if you're operating under the assumption they lose to Georgia, no. I don't think it's a massive deal because, look, I mean, I think tomorrow's game, and the Vegas line shows us this, it's kind of a coin toss as to who wins this game. So if Tennessee wins and Tennessee ends up 9-3, that's a good accomplishment. But I think you look back on the season and see, okay, who did they beat? All right, they won 2 tough road games at Missouri and Kentucky. It was a really good Missouri team for Missouri. It was an okay Kentucky team. They beat Texas A&M at home, and I'm just thinking about, what would their best wins be? That's kind of it, right? They would have lost at that point to Florida, Georgia, and Alabama, the 3 biggest rivals. So it's not a failure of a season or a bad season, but I think you look at it and say, let's get to Nico, right? I mean, it's okay. The Joe Milton thing was fun, but let's get to the next thing. And let's see this young quarterback and see what he can do. So I don't think it changes the outlook of the program that much. I will say if we flip the question, Jared, and let's say they even lose to Missouri but upset Georgia in Neyland Stadium next week and they have sort of that Bama moment they had a year ago by being the first team in 2.5 years to beat Georgia, I think then the outlook is way different. Because now in back-to-back years, Josh Heupel has knocked off Nick Saban and then beaten Kirby Smart. That would really change the outlook for Tennessee football. I think 9-3 and beating Missouri and beating Vandy but losing to Georgia, while that's a good record, I don't think it really changes much of anything, good or bad, going into the offseason.
No, I think Heupel's done it because I'll have to see that. But I actually, just a follow-up thought on this, Cooley had a ton of that. And quite frankly, I think the Tennessee fan base and just the way it operates, is conducive to that. And Heupel, it's just boring old, let's play the games and, is this going to be a big one Saturday? Okay. And I think that's a testament to him.
It's been remarkably quiet. I'll agree with you. Even Heupel is pretty unshakable. It doesn't always lead to a great soundbite with him and kind of boring at times when talking to the media, but that's exactly what Tennessee needed. Mm-hmm. They needed a lack of activity around the program. They needed to be a little bit more quiet. They've gotten a lot more pub for good things. They're getting a lot more pub for having the best rushing offense and the best rushing defense in the SEC. That's what people are talking about, and not some crazy lawsuit or court case going on outside or people saying stupid things in the program. There's far less of that. So I'm with you. Look, I think Josh Heupel's done an amazing job so far at Tennessee based on what I thought that day that he was hired. Because I, like a lot of people, just assumed, Danny White's going to get his buddy. He struck out on all the guys he wanted, and now he had to settle for his buddy at Central Florida, and no Tennessee fan was doing backflips over the hire. What I expected Tennessee to be versus what they are right now, almost a full 3 seasons in, far better than what I was expecting from Josh Heupel. So I think he's done a very good job. Look, I think this year we're looking right now at worst. They're probably going to be 8-4 and playing a decent bowl game at the end of it. I think if that's the case, that's the worst case scenario. That's an okay season, not good, not great. But you still have the guy you think is the next big thing at quarterback that's going to be playing next year. So, look, there's a lot of reasons for optimism. But, Jared, I do think they have a chance against Georgia. I'm not calling for the upset. But I think the Neyland Stadium factor has actually become a thing again. They've won 14 straight games in that building. I think second or third in the nation. Longest. Changes the outlook of everything. But it starts with a coin toss game in Columbia, Missouri tomorrow.
Okay, let's run through these quickly. 3, how bad of a loss was it for Jerry Stackhouse against Presbyterian in their season opener the other night?
It's terrible. I mean, it's a team that had not won a game in 2023. They were like 0-17 from January 1st on. They were 5-23 a year ago in the Big South Conference. They were picked 9th out of 9 teams in the Big South Conference going into this year. And I know their leading scorer was out. I know one of their big men were out. It doesn't matter. You got a lead early in that game. It wasn't like they fell way behind. They let Presbyterian go on a huge run. It's a terrible loss for Jerry Stackhouse because it's just more of the same. The moment you think the momentum from the previous season will carry over and now suddenly they have a good basketball team, they fall right back to a team that looks like they don't practice leading up to a season. I mean, it seriously looks like they just start working on things as the season gets going, and now they can suddenly do something mid-January on. Well, you got to start earlier than that. That was a horrible loss for Jerry Stackhouse. But given what we've seen with his relationship with Candace Lee, he'll probably get another contract.
That's a hot take. Has USC's horrible season affected your belief of Caleb Williams as the number 1 pick?
So USC's horrible season makes me think more about Lincoln Riley and problems with him. And there is this air of softness around that program. And it starts with the defense. And he fired Alex Grinch. And he should have fired Alex Grinch because he was terrible. Caleb Williams makes me have second thoughts about Caleb Williams. And it's not just because he cried in his mom's arms after a loss. I actually kind of like the fact that it seems like he truly cares about wins and losses and was visibly upset about losing the third game of the year. But I don't like the painting the nails, F the opponent they're playing. I don't like the dumb things that he said at times. I don't like that his dad is running his mouth to media members about maybe we'll just come back to college if the wrong team has the first pick. And maybe my son should be a part owner of a team before taking a snap in the NFL. I don't like a lot of the stuff around Caleb Williams. There are some pretty obvious red flags to me. Talent on the field is not one of them. I think he certainly has that, but you got to factor in everything when evaluating a possible franchise quarterback. And there are enough red flags that I don't love him if I'm a team drafting high for quarterback. But overall, I mean, the USC program, when I see this year, it makes me second-guess Lincoln Riley more than anything else. He's got to get this defensive coordinator hire right. If he does that, I think they're going to be fine, but he's got to hit this next hire.
Through 2 games, what current or former NFL quarterback does Will Levis remind you of?
Through 2 games, what current or former? Let me go, I'll go real hot on this one. Brett Favre.
Ooh.
I think that the arm, I think he's going to be a guy that's going to take chances also, like Brett Favre, which always, isn't always a good thing. That's why Brett Favre is the all-time leader in interceptions in the NFL also. But I see a little bit of that mentality. Completely different accent. One guy's from Mississippi, the other guy's from Connecticut. But I can see the physicality, even the running ability sometimes of Levis, who can run it when he needs to. I see a little bit of Brett Favre in Will Levis. I know Titans fans would love for that to be the case.
Boy, I tell you, you've done a 180 on Levis with 2 games after good. Brett Favre. All right. That's a good take.
Look, you asked me who does he remind me of play style-wise. I'm
Sure.
not saying he's going to be Brett Favre. I just say when I see the arm ability, I think of Brett Favre. Now, Brett Favre was also not good when he started his career, right? Like he had inaccuracy problems. He had decision-making problems. I still have the same reservations about Will Levis, about decision-making, about accuracy at times that he displayed at Kentucky. But again, credit where credit's due. I've not changed my mind on him. But through 2 games, he has proven me wrong. He looks really good right now. I hope he's good again on Sunday.
Do you believe the Boston Globe report that the Patriots' dream would be for Mike Vrabel to replace Bill Belichick? And if so, what does that mean?
I believe that Ben Volen is getting that from someone credible. I don't think he's running with that report unless it's coming from someone very close to Robert Kraft or Robert Kraft himself. So it's very weird because of, if you kind of connect the dots on the contract extension and, okay, why would the Patriots want that out if their plan would be to trade Bill Belichick while under contract and all of those things. But, yeah, I mean, I buy it. Like, I don't know if it's an after this year type thing, but it's clear that Robert Kraft loves Mike Vrabel, loves his contribution to that Patriots locker room when he was there, loves what he's done with the Titans. He saw it firsthand. I was up there in Foxborough when the Titans went up there and beat him in Tom Brady's last game. So he got a firsthand look at Mike Vrabel and his ability in that one. Yeah, I buy that his dream scenario would be for Mike Vrabel to coach the Patriots at some point. I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think Amy Adams Strunk is going to let it happen. But, I mean, if they come to the Titans with a desirable trade, I think you got to evaluate it at least.
Good. Unlike Paul, who said that if Robert Kraft calls, then you should reevaluate because Robert Kraft's calling and he must have all the answers. Okay. Is the Carolina Panthers 1-8 record indicative of anything about quarterback Bryce Young?
Yeah, he's having a rough year. I mean, look, we can slice it however we want, and we've already talked a lot about how the first year of a rookie quarterback in the NFL with that tough transition, it's not going to tell the tale of the entire career. But, I mean, he's not been good. Their team around him is bad, too.
They're horrible.
I still think Bryce Young's a really good quarterback, and if they get the right pieces, he could be good. But he's been bad. So, yeah, it does say something about Bryce Young. He's not been a good quarterback this year.
Okay. Redraft the top 4 quarterbacks of the 2023 class based on what you think of them now.
C.J. Stroud, number 1. Just based on what I've seen, it's a much smaller sample.
It's what you think now. So, like, Richardson played a couple of games. We don't know. But, like, if you still think Richardson's a better prospect, then, that kind of thing. I'm going just on what I've seen, all right, because that's the easiest way for me to do this. C.J. Stroud 1, Will Levis 2, Bryce Young 3, Anthony Richardson's hurt. Why is Anthony Richardson 4th on that list? Because he's the one that's injured. Mm-hmm.
And availability is the biggest ability, as we know, Jared. So he's the one that's injured, so he gets a big mark against that for me. So I'm going just on what I've seen. Again, Levis has not had the same amount of games to both look better or look worse that we know he's probably going to look like at times as he continues to play. But, yeah, I'm going Stroud, Levis, Young, Richardson.
The wild part about all of this is that Carolina's one win came over C.J. Stroud in a game that Bryce Young played better than C.J. Stroud.
Yeah, I mean, look, I still believe in Bryce Young. I think he's having a rough year. I don't think Frank Reich is helping him. I don't think anything on that roster is helping him. He's got, Adam Thielen at this point in his career is his main pass catcher. It's just a really bad team, so it's tough to evaluate. I also don't think he's been good. So I'm not going to completely just put the blame on the roster around him. I think all of those factors have contributed to poor performance from Bryce Young.
Last one for you on the hot seat. 10 days ago, the NFL made the conscious choice to keep Raiders-Jets in as Sunday Night Football and not flex it in favor of 49ers-Jacksonville. Why? Or Cleveland-Baltimore. Why is the NFL doing this to us?
I think there is still an inherent New York City bias in major network media. And I think that is why. I think the Jets are a draw right now, even without Aaron Rodgers. I think at the time, before they looked terrible, not being able to score a touchdown in this last game against the Chargers, they were, I think, a game over 500 when that decision was made. You're thinking, hey, maybe Rodgers comes back in mid-December, and maybe this story continues. So I can see the Jets storyline. I also think that inherently major media, which is all centers in either New York or Los Angeles, has more of a New York spin to it at all times. So they're going to favor the New York team, and that's why that happened. Even though I'm with you, those other games far more desirable than watching Jets-Raiders. Although the Raiders now are smoking victory cigars when they win. They're so happy to be done with Josh McDaniels that they light it up after every game. So that's entertaining.
Okay, but here's the thing that's crazy, though, is that, San Francisco and Jacksonville is a noon kickoff. Like, it's not like that's one of those protected games where, Fox has the number one crew out there, and it's like Cowboys-Eagles last week was like, the Fox game of the doubleheader, and you can't take that away from Fox. This is San Francisco-Jacksonville noon kick. This is a great Sunday night football game, I think.
Yeah, well, look, Philly and Dallas is the most watched game of the season. I think 27 million people watch that game, and that's the Cowboys effect also. But now it's the Philly effect too, because that's a national team now.
Right, I'm just saying you can't take that away from Fox as the back half of a doubleheader to flex it into Sunday Night Football. But you can easily take a noon kickoff away and flex it into Sunday Night Football.
Look, I'm with you. Jacksonville is fighting for the number one overall seed in the AFC, so they're relevant. It's also Jacksonville. And I think when you see New York, Jacksonville, there's always going to be a lean towards the Jets and the New York team in that regard. The Jags are just never going to be a team that gets the networks excited, regardless of how good they are.
Final hot seat question for you. Final score, Titans-Buccaneers on Sunday.
I'm going to go – I feel like I've kind of been like you. I've been almost wrong on just about every Titans game this year. So maybe this will work out well for the Titans. I'm going to go Tampa Bay 27, Titans 21.
Chad Withrow from Outkick joins us every Friday at 5 o'clock. Chad, great stuff. Appreciate your time, bud.
Always enjoy it. Thanks, Jared.
Yep.
Blue Raider fans, your home for all the MTSU football and men's basketball action is on 93.3 Classic Hits and 95.1 Classic Hits in the Borough. Catch the action all season long with Chip Walters on the call. Go Blue Raiders!
Green Day present the Saviors Tour. Live in Nashville.
Welcome to
Geodis Park, Friday, August 30th. Celebrating 30 years of Dookie and 20 years of American Idiot. Green Day with the Smashing Pumpkins, Rancid, and the Linda Lindas. Get tickets now at livenation.com. Green Day, the Saviors Tour, fueled by Monster Energy.
Teddy's Tavern, downtown's newest bar with an old Nashville feel, is conveniently located across the street from Bridgestone Arena and just blocks away from the pedestrian bridge. Get a taste of the new brunch menu to fuel your Titans Day pride on game day. Pre-game specials from 9 a.m. till kickoff when the Titans play at home include 2-for-1 draft beers, mimosas, and Bloody Marys. Teddy's Tavern is where you want to be before every Titans home game, so come downtown early and meet me at Teddy's.
Mark your calendars, Nashville. This Veterans Day, step back in time at Centennial Park. The Kiwanis Club is hosting a World War I remembrance. Hear from historical architect Kem Hinton, Colonel Stephen Todd, and actress Jennifer O'Neill, a staunch veteran advocate. Join us at the Mother Monument November 11th at 1 p.m. Then step back in time with a World War I reenactment camp by the 9th Kentucky Infantry Regiment. And don't forget, food trucks will be on site for your appetite. Remember, honor, celebrate. This Saturday, 1 p.m., join the Kiwanis Club of Nashville, a community pillar since 1916, for a Veterans Day celebration. Witness history come alive in Centennial Park. Don't miss it this November 11th. The Kiwanis Club, anchoring community, celebrating valor.
Genesis Diamond's biggest and last sale of the year is coming. November 17th through 19th. It's an extraordinary event with savings of 20, 30, up to 35% store-wide. Rings, earrings, pendants, bands, bracelets. Nothing's held back for this once-a-year, 3-day store-wide sale. Acclaimed designers will be flying in with expanded collections and special pricing. Plus, get 0% interest financing. Luxury pre-owned Rolexes are also included. Lab-grown diamonds, too. Discounts up to 35%. Genesis Diamonds. November 17th through 19th only. Green Hills and Cool Springs.
They say there's a first time for everything. And this November proves it. It's the first time all 30 are all in 6 groups where 8 teams advance.
These teams have all the star power
to conquer a brand new bracket.
This is must-see TV.
In the new NBA Cup. So the question is, who's going to be the first to take it? It's in-season tournament time. November 3rd through December 9th. Presented by State Farm.
You can always join the show by calling or texting at 615-737-1025. Our phone line is driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com.
This is Stillman and Company on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. You're listening to Stillman and Company on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
All right, it's time for six-pack picks. We got to run through them because the Vandy game is coming on quickly. So, Ian, let's just get what was our schedule last week, or what did we do last week?
Okay, last week you went, 4-3 last week. We missed Georgia. We missed USC. We missed Bama. Oh, no, we got Bama, missed Miami, got Philly, got Cincy, and then missed the Steelers.
All right, let's go right to it.
Okay, we will start our first game.
Hold on, I missed the Steelers?
Oh, you got the Steelers. You're right.
Okay,
You're
yeah,
right.
yeah.
Sorry,
All right,
sorry. Okay, our first game, we will start 11 a.m. on Fox. Michigan, Penn State. Michigan is -4.5.
I'm going to take Michigan because I don't think it matters who the coach is. I don't think it matters if Harbaugh is the coach. I don't think it matters if Sharon Moore is the coach. I don't think it matters if Jared Stillman is the coach. I think Michigan, James Franklin always loses these big games against the big boys. I'll take Michigan. I think they win in a rout no matter who the coach is.
Okay, 2:30, CBS, number 13, Tennessee, number 14, Missouri. Tennessee, -2.5.
Well, it was like I was talking with Chad about. I can't get over Eli, even though Missouri's a good team. I think this has been a good season for Tennessee. I think it's just like the Kentucky game. I'll take Tennessee.
Okay, moving on to the night game, 6 o'clock, ESPN, number 9, Ole Miss at number 2, Georgia. Georgia -10.5.
I heard them talking about this on Robbie and Rex Road this morning, and I don't, I got to tell you, Ole Miss, every year, they're kind of like Penn State. Not that we have the same expectations for them that we have for Penn State, to win a big game every now and then. But, every year Ole Miss has a good team with Lane Kiffin, and every year they lose to the big boys. And this is going to be no different. So just like how Penn State always loses to Michigan and Ohio State, Ole Miss always loses to Alabama and the big boys. And so I think they get big boyed this week by Georgia. I think Georgia, has some offensive issues, but I think with Ladd McConkey coming on, I think they'll be okay. I'll take the Bulldogs, and I think the Bulldogs win rather convincingly.
Okay, moving on to the NFL. We will start noon on Fox. The 49ers are traveling to Jacksonville. Early game for a West Coast team could be tricky. Over-under 44.5. San Francisco -3.
I'm going to take San Francisco. I saw Trent Williams is going to try to give it a go. I know Jacksonville has done a good job of beating bad teams when not playing well, which is a sign of a good team. But this is a good team in San Francisco, and I just think San Francisco's defense will make Trevor Lawrence win them the game, and I don't know if Lawrence can do that. I'll take San Francisco.
Okay, also noon on Fox. Cleveland traveling to the Ravens traveling to Baltimore to take on the Ravens, Baltimore -6.5.
I'm really surprised that Sunday night football matchup between the Jets and the Raiders didn't make the six-pack picks. I think Baltimore's going to win this game, and I think Baltimore's going to win convincingly. Baltimore is good. Like in the NFL, there are teams that, they're good one week, and they're not good the next week, and then they're this, and then no. The Ravens are good. I can't pick the Ravens over the Chiefs right now in the AFC because I just think that the difference at quarterback, and Lamar's good, but he's not the other guy. I think it's just too much, but I certainly think the Browns, with all their issues, I think, it'll be a kind of an ugly game because all those AFC North games are ugly, but I'll take the Ravens.
All right, that brings us to the final game. Noon, CBS, Titans traveling to Tampa, taking on the Buccaneers. Over-under on this game is low as we would expect, 39.5. We have Tampa -1.
Tampa wins, and it's going to be the exact same game the Titans have played on the road all season. They'll kick field goals in the red zone. They'll stink on defense at the least convenient time, and Levis will be okay, but he'll have to lead a drive late. They won't do it. They'll lose it. They'll lose on the road the same way they've lost to the Saints, the Colts, the Ravens, and the Steelers. So I'll take Tampa Bay. I'll go Tampa Bay 17, Tennessee 13. That's it for us. Vandy basketball's next. Stillman and Company. We'll see you Monday at 2.